You were almost voice live. I am, but now
was
you guys are. Yeah, there you are.
the shirt was
Yay,
$22.97,
voice
which is ridiculous to pay for a shirt. I don't care what kind of shirt it is. $22.97, unless it's an unnatural one T-shirt that may exist sometime. But no, on clearance for $12. On further clearance for like $7. So.
Well,
I
the
mean-
chat can't see your shirt yet because we're just
that's-
live, but
but that
Oh,
is,
that's okay. Sorry.
That is a good deal.
yeah, it's a pretty damn good deal.
I know, that's why I was like,
But also-
yeah.
It sounded like you were about to plug merch that we don't have, so I was getting a little nervous.
Yeah.
Did you
Like,
go to
the
Alibaba
natural shirts
behind my back
that
and
we
get
don't
shirts
have
set
yet?
up? Yeah. The MOQ for those is like 50, dude.
Okay, I gotta save some of this
MOQ?
for when we get hit with the hydrator.
Minimum
Yeah,
order
but-
quantity. MOQ.
Oh, okay. And shirt production is expensive.
Depends, but yeah.
If you go to the right place, it's really not. Like our Avid shirts, I forget how much they cost, but they're not very expensive. And I say I forget how much it costs. I know exactly how much they cost, but I'm not going to tell you guys. Not on air.
But
But-
there we go. That's what I was trying to look up.
Look, if you do any kind of deep dive, or like say deep diving, digging into like, oh, how much are these Nike shirts? Oh, they're $20, retail. Well, how much does Nike buy them for? For like $1. Well, how much do they cost to the place to produce? Pennies. Like, yeah. So they're just done at such a high volume that it's crazy.
Well, it's like, if you think about anything that's produced in incredibly high volume like that, like retail wise, one of the reasons it is so cheap is the volume it's produced in, right? Because if you
we're
made
not
them in
like-
smaller quantities or like to order, it would cost more per product. But being able to, the more of them you make, the cheaper per item you can actually make them.
Is this a Doom song?
No.
Dune. Dune.
I
don't
know, but I like to say Doom.
I kind of forgot we were live for a second. I was like reading the thing, and I was like, "What am I doing?"
of.
Oh yeah,
We're even voice live.
I know.
I got a cool Doom
Where am I?
patch, Doom-based patch that I got to show you.
Fucking darkness everywhere.
That a cool one of the dads on the Young Bucks gave me a cool Doom inspired patch that I meant to show you, but I forgot. It's in my car. I'm going to show it to you, Patrick, since I know both you and I thoroughly enjoyed the new Doom game.
Yeah.
I didn't play much, but I enjoyed watching it.
It's a fun
It's
game.
super fun. I played it after watching someone play it, which is pretty rare. Usually I don't watch stuff if
Yeah.
I play it.
I would say I watched you play basically the entire game, and then I still sat down and played it.
I think I feel that way about Resident
Evil.
Evil 4.
I mean, I don't have to watch people play that game. I've played it enough for everybody.
Well, I'm sorry. I'd like to hear the commentary.
Everybody shut up. JB's here.
He
Sweet.
lurk.
Oh, hey, that's weird. They put Arena on Steam finally.
Oh, weird. That is... Yes. Weird
Yes.
that is.
Also,
Which
why
Arena?
is Steam open? I didn't open it. It did that thing where it just popped up over my whole screen, and I'm like, hello, Steam. I didn't click the button for you to open.
Did you accidentally
Need to close it.
when I would use my PlayStation controller or Xbox controller plugged into my PC, if you would hit like the home button, like the PlayStation icon or the Xbox icon, it would do the Steam overlay.
Yeah, well, it's
That's what that was set to
I don't
default
have
to do, which is
anything
terrible
plugged
if you
in.
accidentally bump it.
So, because if I had
Weird.
the controller plugged in, I would have to either unplug the mouse or the microphone, and so that would not work very well. So no.
The snail poll is up.
Mhm.
Okay.
Snowplow.
Lauren Boebert
I think
She had her
we
third
should
son because birth control was too expensive.
Go face live. I think we
Kids
should.
are way more expensive than births.
No, I don't think anyone has ever said, "Oh yes, I'll have a child because not having the child is too expensive."
Well, people have probably said that, but people have been wrong. People can say whatever they want. It just isn't true. You have to say things that are
Yeah, it's
sensical.
yeah. I don't know.
I don't understand.
I mean, I guess if you're gonna like, give birth to an industrial labor bot, send it directly into work.
What the Republicans want.
Can we not?
No, I'm gonna. As a
No,
as
no,
on
I'm
a
gonna.
fringe Republican,
Oh my god!
like I like my guns.
As long as you don't
Look.
just start like info warring all over the place. I think it'll be okay. But if
Republicans
you do that,
are
I'm gonna
not
have to-
necessarily the problem.
crap it.
It's
No, it's the crazy people. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
crazy people.
It's the two parties.
it's the extremes. That's usually where the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
None of
The
us.
truth is often somewhere in the middle, unless you're talking about Oreos.
Wait, join my podcast.
The
Hashtag
truth of
truth
Oreos
seeker.
is
Damn cookie.
directly in the middle, in fact, because especially if you are my child, the only thing you care about in Oreos is the filling. That kid licked the thing out about, fuck these cookies, like immediately, and I'm just like, no, that's
No.
no, you can't just have the filling.
It's
Just
not
go buy
Milk's
a can of
favorite
icing.
cream. It's Milk's
Yeah.
favorite
The
cookie.
cookie,
goddammit.
yes.
I will buy a can of freaking icing if you want it that bad. I'm not spending money on Oreos for you to not eat the cookie part.
Yeah, here's a bag of sugar.
Disgusting.
Yeah, here
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
probably-
get some powdered sugar, some water, and we're gonna mix that together. There you go.
The baking
Yeah,
soda.
it's
just to
actually
really-
probably really easy to make the filling now that
Oh,
I think about it.
Super easy. It's
I mean,
icing.
yeah, it's basically powdered sugar and vegetable shortening.
Yeah, it's just icing for the most part. It's really
Yeah.
easy.
I mean,
It's just a
yeah,
thicker consistency than generally icing is.
Basically, just like with a bunch of weird additives to mass produce it.
Yeah, and to make sure it doesn't go stale.
However, now I can talk about a thing now. Speaking of stale, listen, let your Oreos go stale.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
Yes.
leave them
You and
bitches
Boshi,
open
man.
for like a
You and
night,
Boshi.
and you will get stale soft Oreos. Which they're not like sticking your teeth stale. They just the outer part gets a little bit soft, and they're fucking balling.
It's one of the reasons why it's
Stale
Milk's
soft
favorite
Oreos.
cookie. It's yummier when they're softer.
I think it's Milk's favorite cookie because it's an excellent branding line, but you know.
And, I don't know. There's some cookies
There-
that I dip in milk, and it's just not as good.
well, yeah,
not all.
but
of them,
that's
right?
not
I'm an
the
Oreo and coffee guy, but that's just
Oreo thing. I mean,
Oreo and coffee is different.
I was gonna say Oreo and coffee is good, but I think that's one of those. that
Oh,
you gotta try it
no!
once. and if you
JB
don't like
disagrees with you.
it- yeah, I know he does. So do I. It's fine. I just wasn't gonna say anything, but
there's
JB,
something else
you and I are in agreement here. But anyways, they're fine when they're stale. They're not bad. I just would rather have them crunchy. And
look.
fresh.
Stale Oreos are still good.
That's what I'm saying. They're not
you,
bad.
You only give it
Which
like
is not
a
what I'm
night,
saying.
right? Because they
Look,
can
I've
get over
tried
stale.
it. I've known you and Bosch.
Well, no, I'm not talking to
I've
you,
tried it.
Dave. I know you've tried it, but yeah, they can get over stale where they actually taste like stale cookies. But
Yeah.
like a night, like one overnight, like leave them open. Don't have no fucking bugs in your house. If you got ants, obviously this isn't a trick for you. But if your house ain't fucking dirty, then leave them open at night, and then they're fucking great.
Anyway,
Well,
They-
yeah, JB,
that
I
is-
understand that is not the same as soaking them in milk. Something saturated in milk, which has like fat and other things in it that provide different flavors, it's a different experience,
Yeah.
right? I'm
He's
not
talking about
saying
just eating them
spend
by
8
themselves.
hours on something that you could dip in milk for 12 seconds and have the same effect. That would be
You
stupid.
could also just go to a gas station and buy a sleeve of Oreos from a gas station, and they taste about like you left them out stale.
Also,
They do.
It is like 9:20.
yeah, I was gonna.
I don't know how long we've been
tried.
talking about Oreos.
Why are we gonna do the thing we're supposed to do? Screw that. Let's talk about. We'll argue about Oreos for an hour and a half.
That's
No!
an Oreo
What
podcast.
else we're gonna do?
I also don't want to keep talking about Oreos because I don't want to buy Oreos.
Oh, do you
And
mean?
I have
Especially
poor
since
enough
they're not
impulse control
sponsoring
if
us.
That will happen.
I mean, regardless of
Fuck
that,
Oreos. In
Yeah.
fact, they don't have the
that's not why
balls
we
to
don't wanna
sponsor
not
us.
buy
Yeah.
Oreos. We don't wanna
Hydrox
not buy
is the
Oreos
best
because
sandwich
We don't want to be
cookie.
fat. Anyways,
You
what
This
fucking
is a
idea
Hydrox
thieves.
and Shasta.
what now? Have
only
you look? Have you ever heard anybody say that word in a conversation before, except for you, Panda? I have.
I've never even heard of that
Hydrox?
brand.
They're the
What?
like name,
Hydrox?
Yeah.
The original Oreo.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
the name
Yeah.
original whatever thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oreos came out after these, and they look
Yeah. Yeah.
basically the same.
Yeah, they just don't
The
have
original
design.
sandwich cookie.
They don't have,
Oreos
like, the
sounds
Oreo.
better than Hydrox. Hydrox sounds like
It
good.
Hydrox
meat.
sounds like a cleaner. Yeah.
All right,
Or
this
a
is the
Pokemon.
last thing I'm going to say about Oreos at all before I do the recap, which is you need to watch the Brennan Lee Mulligan CEO Oreo video. It's real funny because he also mentions Hydrox cookies in that.
I would be real surprised You know what? No, I wouldn't. I was gonna say if people watching this stream have not seen that, but you know what? Molly's here.
Exactly.
Also, not everybody's watched every Brennan Lee Mulligan college humor video like
No, but
JD and I have.
that's a really popular one.
There's
But
a
anyway,
lot,
go-
but
go
there's a
ahead
lot
with
of the
the-
CEO ones, right? He's done a
Yeah,
lot,
that's
so I wouldn't be
true.
surprised
That's
if you've missed one or two. Like everybody's seen the Tide one,
Everyone's seen
But
the Tide one. Yeah.
but not everybody's seen
Except
the,
Molly.
like.
Molly's
or-
seen
yeah,
none of them.
You don't count.
Thank you.
Molly.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Because we assume you've seen no videos whatsoever at all of anything.
Hey, I've seen the college humor. If the internet was a guy video, those
Oh.
were good.
Yeah, the Google ones or whatever, where it's just
Yeah, that
We
one.
could all
That
in
one.
watch-
an office, like in a storage closet office.
We could all watch a video together. We're talking about it. Molly's just like, I haven't seen it.
All right.
Go ahead,
Anyway.
Dave. 'Cause-
Last time,
Yeah.
session 31 of Into the Store. We got up kind of late in the morning as a group. We were like, sleeping in because we had been up all night the previous night for the most part. No Rahala in the morning. Didn't find her. So we decided to ask around, see if anybody's seen her. Because the last time we saw her was the day before we found the trap door in the barn. So it's been a while. We run into Volga, who is the person who has last seen her the most recently. Saw her go into like the second floor study nighttime before all the like craziness started happening. So we go up to the study, very Clue style. I say that because we definitely made a Tim Curry reference in that, and that's all kind of running together. So in the study, we meet this Gonsong man who does not speak good Ulus, and he saw Rahala based entirely off of Sam's description of this, and he definitely knew who it was, and I was like, I mean, that checks out. So, but we didn't really get any more information from him. He was looking for a cookbook. He definitely did not have a cookbook. We kind of helped find him a cookbook. It's fine. He kind of got what he's looking for. But so we searched all over the study for Rahala, and we really don't find her. But I find in one of the shelves, I'm using like the brooch, the assassin's brooch that we were able to go through a wall with. I'm using that to like check things, see if maybe there's a secret passage somewhere. And as I'm doing that, my arm gets stuck like in a bookshelf. It's like attached to the wall. And so I'm like, I'm going to go get it because I can't pull it free. So I'm going to climb in there to like reach it out. And I just keep climbing and I just keep going into the shelf deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm just in the shelf. And eventually I finally get to like the end where I can just pry it loose from the wall. And at this point is when my little shadow buddy tells me that I'm being watched. And I'm very much like, well, I'm going to just ignore that as best I can. But I see some like humanoid eyes and hear some laughter and breathing. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like trying to crawl out and it's getting closer and closer. And as like right before I go to get out, it grabs my hand and I hear a voice that says, don't forget me. And after it grabbed me, there's like a print on my hand of like a handprint. Print of a handprint, those things. You'd be inside a police station
looking at the prints for fingers. Exactly what I thought.
I could not. Bobby Moynihan. Anyways, but before that, or while that was all going on too, Sam and Lamia were kind of investigating, and Sam found like a book on a bookshelf that was like sticking out, and then as he started to like try and pull that, the bookshelf started moving towards them, and they had to like get out of the way so the bookshelf wouldn't like crush them by swinging towards them, which would have been bad.
Nah, give me this book.
You're like, I got this. I also felt like negative, cold energy kind of from this thing's breath that was in the bookshelf. And after I've pulled the like wood and stuff that was stuck on the back of the brooch, because it was, stuck, and I just literally pried it off with like the bookshelf. The wood has like a symbol, but it's not the symbol that's on the brooch. And the symbol has something to do with conjuration, but I can't like figure it out. It looks kind of like a summoning circle, but it's way too small. And the runes are weird and old. At this point we've found Rahala. She's tiny, and we're gonna go like get her. Sam goes to go get her clothes because she did the shrink, minimize, whatever. I can't remember what that spell is actually called. In little person. Reduce person. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word reduce, man. Like make little, make small, whatever. Shrinky dinks. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. A spell. So, yeah,
Very cat-like behavior, yes, Ellie.
Oh yeah, yes, of course. It's Ellie insists it is a cat. That is also something that has happened this entire time. But anyway, so we find Rahala. We talk to her about it. She's definitely hiding something about this whole thing, and is very not forthcoming. And while she's doing this, I kind of very ADHD out of the blue be like, it told me not to forget it. So forget time. I use the spell that I got from Clint Markham with the tattoo, the safeguard knowledge. I forget what it's called. It's spell like ability. I'll look at my sheet real quick so I don't just hidden knowledge. There we go. I use hidden knowledge.
But if you want
yeah, I will, so people can see what I'm talking about. I use hidden knowledge right here to make myself forget the entity in the shelf because it told me not to. So I was like, yeah, all right, let's forget this thing. And we go to tell Regeki about it, which is funny because then part of the story, I'm like telling the story and then I have to stop and go, I don't remember anything after this point. You guys have to fill her in. And so I was like, because I went in the shelf and then I came out of the shelf and I used this spell and I don't remember anything that happened inside the shelf. And so that was not as helpful in that part. I probably should have waited till after we told Regeki about it to forget. But we did get the book that Sam had seen. It was like a red book and it had like a silver thing on it. We get that. It was a book by Vladimir Kusharn. There's no text other than the author's name. I don't know why I wrote Eli woke up and chose violence, but apparently I did. That's in my notes. I show Regeki that piece of wood off the back of the amulet. She says it's really bad. She wants us to meet her later in like 2 hours, and she's notified the authorities that we aren't really suspects anymore. Lamia goes to fill in Vabrong. Oh, we also find out that part of Rahala's tattoos is like the symbol of the secret assassin people, but not quite that, but it works. We go test it. We're like, oh, maybe that had something to do with why you were able to go through the wall. So then we go down to the basement where the wall that isn't a wall, because we're able to pass through it as long as we have the brooch, and we test it with Rahala's tattoo, and she's able to walk through this wall. So it works. She's very hesitant until I just like stick my arm through the wall and then, show her that we're going to pass right through it. And like I walk through and walk back, and I could have definitely played a mean prank on her, but Eli is not red. So I was very nice about this whole encounter. Just want to put that out there. Sam's practicing with his new bow that he has because it's like a composite +2 bow. Is it a +2 bow?
Strength 2.
Strength. Well, yeah, not a magic bow.
Longbow as well.
An additional strength 2. So let's see. That happens. I go to look for more secret stuff in the underground area. In the secret underground area, I find a scroll case. It's very damaged, and it's stuffed with like 7 scrolls, 2 of which are magical. One appears to be blank with a short message. It says, if you were discovered, burn it. 3 barrels, alchemist fire, die or disappear. There's another scroll with a stamp on it. Lots of stamps, actually. 7 different ones, all in an order with spaces, turned, inverted, all these things. So it's probably some kind of secret code. 6th one has charcoal rubbing, seems bonded to the paper. Last scroll, I don't know what I'm looking at really. I see the text, but the instant I look at it, I can't retain any information. It goes right back out. And at a certain point, I'm like, oh, the thing in the bag that fits in the bag. This is a thing I can't know. This helps me know things I can't know. So maybe, and as I, the character, am having this thought and thinking about it, I hear a voice next to me. It sounds familiar, but I don't place it. And it says that it can help with that. There's nobody there. And then I'm like, I don't see anybody. It's like, I'm invisible. It's my natural form to be invisible. And it takes the scroll to look at it and then hands it back. And it tells me some things remain untrue no matter how they are. And there is something that is untrue isn't there. And this is related. Shouldn't say this, but you did help me. This scroll is an act of theft from Lady Mishani. To remove it from her realm, and I have to use the thing to remove it from her realm was an act of theft. I have to use the thing that's in the bag to learn what it is. I figured that out. And then the voice says that my master is upset, or it says your master, but it's talking to me. It says, I am sorry. And I'm like, upset from like hell, right? And it doesn't say anything. It just goes away. And I'm like, right? Please? And it's invisible, so I have no idea it left. So I probably talk out loud for like 4 more minutes trying to figure out where it's gone. And then Lamia goes to talk to Batu, which is her friend in the city who she'd done a job for. You should go watch Lamia's origin story thing that shows how she got here to learn more about Batu. You should watch all of ours, actually. It's on YouTube. Go to YouTube, watch the stuff. Like, subscribe.
They're all pretty good.
Bell, those things. Yeah. Plugs. But they are good. They're enjoyable, and they're really fun little one-shot things.
Even 2 of them have closed captioning.
Yeah. Anyways, because the reason she goes to talk to Batu is Han had seen her when she went out to like do something, and he was like, "Hey, Batu's upset that you didn't come visit him. You should go." And she's like, "Well, there's been stuff happening, and it was kind of difficult to get out of here." And he's like, "Well, are you free now?" And she's like, "I guess." So she just goes. And Batu kind of just explains to her all about like what he's doing working for Dorad Acquisitions and that kind of stuff, and offers her a job. And that's kind of where we left off on this cliffhanger of you should come work for these guys because they pay real good.
Was the last major thing that happened, for sure. Did anyone else want to add to that?
I had found another scrying eye in the study.
That's true. We definitely made sure to tell
reported
Ricky about that. I wrote about blank and the eyes in there, and in eyes, I was thinking eyes in the wall, not eyes, scrying eyes in my notes. So I didn't mention that because I was like, I didn't know there were eyes in the walls or in the bookshelf. That's dumb. Why would I put that? I forgot it was the scrying eyes. Should have wrote scries, like not the word scry, but S-C-R. Yeah, or S. However you spell scry. S-C-R-E-Y-E. Yeah, there you go. Boom. I can spell. I can't spell.
Anime scried. I did not know how to pronounce that I had no fucking clue how to pronounce it.
Escryed.
Oh, Escryed.
I fucking love that show.
The Gathering.
That's what I will refer to it as.
I still need to sit down and rewatch that.
Yeah,
It
if
didn't
it
age
was
as
not
well
for
for me, but
Magic
it's
the Gathering, I would not know how to pronounce scry. Probably still, because it is a evergreen mechanic on Magic cards. Which is why I know it wasn't always an evergreen mechanic. It was not made an evergreen mechanic until 2011, by the way. Not that anybody needed to know that.
I didn't play D&D even at the time, so I had no. I was just like, Escryed, man, I like that show. You know, I got to watch the finale, which is an interesting experience as a person. You know, when you're like, you know, in those high school years or whatever, like you never got to see the ending of an anime. That didn't happen. They didn't end. They just got canceled eventually.
Yeah, except for Full Metal Alchemist at 2 a.m, waking my mom up when I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Because the ending makes no fucking sense, and I was very upset.
Such a fucking real reaction to the original.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a movie that was supposed to wrap it up either. So I just thought that last episode was it, and I was like, that answers no fucking questions. It only brings up questions.
Just imagining your mom walking out, like to fend off whatever crazy drunk burglar has come through the window on PCP, and just see her like crazy ass son having flipped the couch and just stomping around the living room.
I'm yelling at my 13-inch TV that's in my room. You know, back when TVs were smaller than laptop monitors.
Oh, God.
And the friggin' tube TV that was just in my room, and I'm like 13 or 14. I forget how old I was. It was maybe I was 15. But I was just yelling at this fucking TV at 2:30 in the morning. Thanks, Adult Swim.
Shoot, there was another thing I wanted to say.
Go ahead.
But because of that outburst, I've completely forgotten.
Sorry, that's my superpower, is derailing any conversation I'm a part of.
It had something to do with Rahala.
Was it that she has size 11 feet? Because you left that out.
No, because guess what?
Every time we talk about this, you make the size bigger. Every time we do this, you say a bigger shoe size.
Well,
he actually did say 11 last time, and I don't know why I remember that, but I was just like, what the heck? No.
The first time we were talking about it, he was on like 7s.
Yeah.
And we've just progressively gotten bigger.
That's true.
It's a side effect of her shrinking spell.
Is her feet
don't come back right.
Back?
They don't scale. They like scale up different. You gotta stop using that spell, lady.
I remember
your own spell.
I remembered. I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt you.
Go ahead.
So there is a time difference between when the Ulis guy saw Rahala and when Rahala says she disappeared.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. He says that he saw her and they chatted, and she's like, "No, I was already gone by then, or whatever. Like I wasn't here for that."
Yeah.
So I want that noted, because even back then I was thinking like, okay,
we were like evil doppelganger or something. Right?
You were like evil doppelganger.
Yes.
I personally was thinking maybe the Fang decided to come back anyway. But
since he did disguise himself as a guard or whatever, could have disguised himself as another person who was missing, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But regardless, I'm glad I remembered that. I want to know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That was a good call out.
Especially
showed
because I
them.
was like, "Are you sure you didn't meet this guy? He described you perfectly."
You know?
I showed everybody
poor
else.
random nameless NPC. Oh yeah, you guys.
I showed everybody else my shirt, but I want to show off my Hello
it's
Kitty
mirrored.
Gundam shirt. Oh,
Hold on, turn off your mirroring on your video.
never.
Never.
I mean, you're being all blurry. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
you
because
are blurry.
That's his background, but
you can see my
Because it
unmade
bleeds.
bed in the background.
Who makes their
What do you-
bed?
why do you think I
Right.
spent 4 hours freaking rearranging my room so that I could have a wall behind me when we
Why
Such
do
like
you
a
think I
bird's
go in
nest.
the garage? Yeah.
I place my blankets around me and I sleep in it.
Also
Like,
because I'm like a burrowing animal and I like enclosed dark spaces, which this garage is.
My mom does make her bed.
Well, your mom's an old person. No offense, but anybody who makes their bed is an old
Ah.
person. Even if you're 12 and your parents make you do it, you are automatically an old person.
I mean, yeah, you're kind of right. Just fucking
Anyway,
makes their bed.
I think we're ready to go into the storm.
I'm pretty sure my mom makes her bed, but
let's go to the store, guys.
let's go to the storm. Yeah, let's do it, man.
Oh, right. So, yes, there was a bit that happened after you, because Lamia did leave Batu's place because he
Mhm.
made the offer, and she's like, "I'll think about it," and he was a little disappointed, right?
That was another
You bought
thing
some
that
potions.
that wasn't noted. The
Hmm.
comrade.
Oh, the fucking comrade. How could I forget
I-
the biggest shorts anybody's ever seen? That
Oh, yeah,
Batu
yeah, yeah.
bought.
I was completely planning on just glossing over it when I was catching you guys up just now, and just like not going into it and waiting for the uproar. But Molly remembered.
I
have
did.
In my notes. I don't know why. I just skipped that line, I guess, because I have comrade in all caps, by the way, in my notes.
But
Anyway,
yes,
sorry.
Batu is apparently buying for an undisclosed price the biggest fucking shorts anyone's ever seen. Who has all black wool and little like white socks.
White socks.
Yeah. So that's a thing.
Also, if anybody watches Bluey, Socks is my favorite character. Just because she's 2 or whatever and bites
I
people.
don't think anybody else in here has kids.
Doesn't
so-
matter. You can watch Bluey even if you don't have kids. It's a great.
Well,
Yeah, but nobody
Bluey
does.
You watch Bluey?
Great
Nah,
show.
man, I don't do that without a kid. You think I watch kid shows recreationally?
Yes, I do. A lot of them.
Hey, you got any of those episodes of Ed and Eddie?
Long
Yeah.
before I had a child, and since now I can watch them with her and not have to like fight over things. She's like,
Oh,
hey,
Christ.
let's
Okay.
watch.
All right.
Yeah, it's
we're
like
doing it.
9:37.
We are
man.
being
My
very
recap was
rambly
also
tonight.
long and
Yeah,
rambly.
it was
we
thorough.
did a lot last session though.
Yes, it was thorough. Lamia, you bought, I believe, some Cure Light Wounds potions.
Yes, I did.
That's true.
Right after you left there, and you went back to the manor.
Mhm.
They were not in fancy bottles.
And we were picking up pretty much right at roughly close to that 2-hour mark when you guys all meet in the dining hall. So I'm going to pass to you, and if you have any kind of RP or anything you wanted to discuss before Rahala shows up to give you whatever information it was she needed to go get.
Okay. So Lamia, when she walks in, looks kind of solemn and very thoughtful. Sorry, I read JB's statement.
God, I really want to side tangent again.
No.
Let's not.
Talking about
Far
kidnapping
over.
children so you can watch kid shows, because that's where my mind went.
Lamia
when I
looks
did
solemn whenever you
Yes,
meet.
yes. And she goes to go. I'm guessing we're meeting in like that one room that has
Dining hall, where you're going to meet
the dining hall.
Rahala.
Okay.
Yeah.
The place with
She
all the
goes
food.
to sit down at the table and looks over and like, Eli, I forget because it's been a minute since I signed our contract, but we're good until at least the job is done, right?
Good like.
Like
I
it's
don't understand what good means in this context.
like I have an agreement to basically stay on the job with you
Well, the contract is more to indemnify us of any injury against you and to quote exactly how much you paid. If for some reason you need to leave the job, you're going to forfeit pay, which is in the contract. You still get paid amount based off of the amount of time or whatever you put into the job. But technically, you can leave at any time. You just forfeit pay. And that stuff is written into the contract. It's in a lot more legal easy words that Naya wrote because I don't know how to write like that. But yeah. As much as I speak very fluent Ulis, I do not speak fluent legal Ulis in the sense that it is not my first language. And laws are written weird.
Yeah. Well, I say weird. We're not, I mean, as it's all I've grown up around too.
Oh, look, my primary language is Tertian, and if I had to read a book of law in Tertian, it does not read like a book in Tertian. That's all I'm saying. Is when you write legal documents and stuff, the wording is incredibly particular and specific, and they use words that no one else in the history have ever used. Like, I've never heard some of the words that are in our contracts used in a sentence before. I don't even know how to pronounce them.
Oh, like, no, I don't want to come up with BS thing because I'm not very fluent in law.
Forthwith is not a term I think I've ever used. I can at least pronounce that one, but I don't think I've ever said forthwith in a sentence in my life.
Oh, yeah. I think the only time I've done that is
that one.
Yeah, right there. Explaining that I've never had to use that word before is the only time I've ever used it.
like in an essay or something. Ugh. Okay, so
Hence?
I just...
Who says hence? Who says hence? Hence is in the contract.
Why do you bug me when... Okay. Okay, I guess I just needed to hear that as a reminder.
Yeah, the contract... look, there's a lot. I wouldn't expect you to read every single bit of it. Again, most of it is a safety waiver indemnifying us against injury to your person. Legal, like... what's the word I want? Will and testament in the case of your death or severe injury. Like what you want done. Like if you're severely injured and you had like you didn't want to be revived or something. Like let's say we could revive you and be like, no, I don't like that because it's against your faith or whatever. That is part of the thing in this contract. But then also it is the specifics of how much pay you're going to receive. How reimbursement works, like if you bought an item and then I paid you back for buying the item because it's the company's item, like that stuff's detailed in there, what your pay is and what amount of pay you forfeit should you be unable to complete a job. All of that's in there. It's, it's a lot of nonsense for the most part, or it sounds like nonsense anyways, but it's pretty simple stuff. But yeah, you're free to leave at any time. That's part of the contract. You just forfeit pay.
Right. And you didn't really freak out when
the
you
PDM's
found...
too. Sorry, Ellie made a great point. My
My
random
per diem.
legal advisor, my off to the side legal advisor.
Mayor just swoops in on a paraglider and moves out of the window.
It's like per diem, and then flies off. And I was like, oh, that was cool.
Why didn't he tell us he could do that?
But that is also an
Weird.
excellent example of words nobody uses in a sentence realistically is per diem.
Yes. Seize the
Thanks, Snake.
snares.
And you didn't really freak out once you found out that I hadn't been exactly normal lately.
I've got a shadow that is alive and follows me around. I don't think I'm qualified to judge people. Yeah, I don't think I'm qualified to judge people on normal behaviors. Sam's fine, young man, but look at him. Just like, and he works here.
Well, you didn't freak out either, Sam.
It's kind of what I'm getting at. I don't know if he knows how to freak out. I think he's just a little.
There's a ghost in the shitter.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with
Just
one
as a
exception
reminder.
is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is the toilet ghost might be the exception to that.
Yeah. I'm not really all too familiar with the. I guess would the proper term still be paranormal?
Sure.
Paranormal means something different.
It's just
Supernatural.
not quite normal, essentially.
Incorporeal entities. Talking about words
But it still
nobody uses in polite conversation.
We don't have to be exacting in our wording. Like, people know what that means. That's what words are for. So yeah, you're good.
Like, it's not paranormal, you know. It's not exactly normal for ghosts and stuff to be around, but a lot of people consider, like, magic to be paranormal in theory. Or whatever, you know. Or
supernatural, or whatever, yeah.
So, different world,
The
different
term by us is arcane, but continue.
Oh, you're a communist?
Not
Anyway,
even close, mate. Anarchists, not communists. Don't make me get into that.
Our cane.
I've got a... Anyways, I've got a whole... Cue Bugs Bunny meme. Anyways.
Guys, focus. You're doing it again already.
No, I demand to be able to talk about the difference between the red and black Russians and white Russians.
And you can after midnight.
I don't really want to go into that. It's fine.
King.
I just bring this up because, well, you know Han, who's been trying to get me to go hang out with Visag Batu.
Yeah. Good bloke. He got us over here, you know, or helped get us here. Anyways, rode with us. Yeah. I remember him.
Yeah, I finally got to go there, and I guess, for lack of better wording, I got offered a job.
Ah, neat. Doing like the same stuff.
Kinda. Well, no, actually, no, because you're with who you are, and what seems to follow you would definitely be different, I think.
I don't know if I'm offended or complimented by that, but you're saying that there's probably going to be less paranormal wackadoo at this job?
Maybe. It has to deal with, you know, back in our old Ulis culture, there was a lot more traveling cities, so to speak. And
I'm afraid I don't know, as I'm not from here, but I'll take your word for it.
You mean like a wagon train, or?
I honestly don't know how much I can share of this. He shared it in kind of private, and I don't want to just say his business adventure, especially since his boss is actually the Dorat company.
Oh, see that? I didn't know. But, I mean, it makes sense. They employ half of everybody.
So I don't know how much I'm allowed to really say.
I mean,
but
allowed to, or feel comfortable saying?
Feel comfortable, because Batu is a friend of mine. I don't want to cross him.
Listen,
just because.
I'm not going to ask you to reveal any confidential information. I'm not going to ask you to say anything you don't feel comfortable saying. It's not a thing I do. All you got to say is, Batu offered you a job, right? He works for Dorat. It's probably a lot of money. They generally have that. That's why they make so much more money, is they had a bunch to start with, so they can pay people a lot to get more stuff.
Right, but
you aren't
the reason I'm
beholden to this job. If you don't want it, you can take that one. I'm not going to stop you. I might be disappointed. I'm not going to lie. And I'd have to find somebody else to round out our trio here. But I'm not going to be like angry at you or anything.
No, I wasn't trying to say you would be angry at me or anything. I just... I guess what I'm trying to ask really is, like, when we came to get hired by you, those two people who left that day, would I just be another note like them, or would it really mean a lot if I ended up leaving?
I've had 36 different employees in the 3 years I've been in business, which is a lot, okay? And I can safely say you're in the top 5, considering I'm one of my own employees. Mayor, Hattie, Sam here, and you. That's 5. I guess Rahola. We won't count me. Rahola's the 5th one. I'll be number 6.
Am I above or below the horse?
They're in no particular order. I didn't say Nix. Nix isn't an employee. He's family. Actually, he is on the payroll, though, so...
And that's what I
he
thought.
should be number one. He is technically on my payroll.
Yeah. His wages are a bit esoteric.
Yeah.
He's on the payroll.
That's
just
funny
wants
because he's a
carrots.
horse.
He just wants carrots, sugar cubes, and peanut butter. He's the easiest employee out of all of you. He's definitely my favorite. He doesn't complain. He shows up to work every day. He's always where I left him.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to know that. I feel a lot better now.
JB, not family like how corporate places say family either. I mean, family like we call a dog family. That is my level of family with
I
the
think
horse.
he's meaning it. It's all about family, dog.
Well, that too. We could go with the most recent Fast and Furious version where Vin Diesel says family 36 times or whatever. But
The Diesel
yeah.
family. Yeah.
But no,
Anyway,
I mean like how Harley's family.
while you two are
Yeah.
here is I went ahead and bought another Cure Light potion. Sam, here's one for you. Here's another one for you, Eli.
Drink it.
Yeah, great.
Oh.
How much does those cost so I can reimburse you as well? Because that's also in the contract when you buy things that are usable for company spending, like in company ventures. That's the word I wanted, ventures. I'll reimburse you, speaking of our contracts.
Oh, they were 50 each. It's no big deal right now.
Well, I've got the money, I think, on me, I think. As I say, as I like dig through my stuff.
If not, I can pay it back
You're
too.
gonna have to start a ledger.
Like I said,
Or an
it's no big
expense
deal
report.
right now. I literally just got these because I remembered Sam having to use his, so.
Sam is currently pouring that potion into the fancy bottle. He's kept the old fancy bottle.
Of course you are.
Nice.
Oh, right. That reminds me. If I remember
Very,
when we get
very
back.
Lower class, like get my money's worth mentality.
You're like,
Fucking
listen,
love it.
I bought this super nice bottle. Okay, I'll tell you a short story about myself. It's very short. Arby's used to sell special winter glassware back in the day. They sold sets with like winter scenes on them. They were crystal glassware. My mother bought some of those glasses when I was 5 or 6. We still have them. So talk about getting your money's worth out of a cup, all right?
Yeah.
Also, the amount of Hideaway cups and S&B burger cups in my cupboard.
Yeah.
I'm paying $3 for a drink and keeping the cup.
Which cups? Recipes,
Yeah.
which.
A company
Yeah.
that doesn't even have a
S&B cups
store
were
in this
dope.
state anymore.
Right. But speaking of that thing, remind me when we get back home that I need to ask if I can refill those and get a cheaper price on that. Because if I can refill them, then they would be worth the 100 that I spent.
I mean, yeah, if they do cheaper refills like those places where they got like big wine barrels, and if you bring in your own wineskin, it's cheaper because you're not having to buy it from them and they'll fill them up for you. It's
Mhm.
nice.
I can think of nothing but 7-Eleven right now.
That is what I was thinking of. I was trying to make a comparison that wasn't exactly 7-Eleven.
I was
Those
thinking
wine
the state
skins.
fair.
Speaking of expensive bottles that I got my money's worth out of, root beer bottles, the like glass root beer bottles with the corks on them, you get it like the medieval fair or the state fair. I got plenty of those too.
So, excuse me.
Yeah,
Rahala
one of those
enters
right
the
there.
room. Excuse me. Rahala enters very quickly. Sam, I figured out what these do. Holding the arrows. Her hair's a little messy. Like, whatever. Study stuff. She seems a little manic. And runs over, hands them to you, and, like, busts out a bunch of notes. She's like, alright, now these arrows are actually capable of mimicking an effect similar to a spell called, it's like named shot or a named bolt. And what you can do, usually, is you can, like, designate a sort of creature, and whenever you attack it with these, they're much more potent, but these are a bit more specific. I'll explain more. You have a bow, right? Let me... Well, don't shoot
What?
anything, but let me show you this.
David
She starts to kind of
Aeneas. Sorry.
not necessarily a demonstration, but she's kind of like walking you through how they work. Effectively, you will learn the mechanic of these arrows. I'm just going to send you quick. I'm just going to put it in the player discussion stuff. But they basically are +1 arrows, enhancement bonus. So that gives them +1 to hit and +1 to damage. Whenever you shoot these specific arrows. But also, they mimic the effects of a spell called Named Bullet. And I sent a link to that in the Discord to you. So if you want to read that off so that the chat knows what they do, I'll finish off by giving you a specification.
Named Bullet. Range touch, target 1 piece of ammunition or thrown weapon. Blah, blah, blah. That's not important.
Description.
You imbue the target with deadly accuracy against selected creature type and subtype for humanoids or outsiders, or a specific creature you know and can name. When used against the selected creature, the ammunition never misfires and is unaffected by concealment, but not total concealment. And at a range of 30 feet or less, the attack targets the selected creature's touch AC. When the target hits the selected creature, you must overcome that creature's spell resistance, or the spell has no effect. A normal hit scored upon the target against the selected creature is considered to be a critical threat and deals 1 extra point of damage per caster level, maximum 20, which is not multiplied on a critical hit. A natural critical hit does the same extra damage, but the damage is multiplied due to the critical. Once the target is used to attack.
Once the selected creature.
Yeah, sorry, that one's really screwing me up.
Because the target is the ammunition.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Once the target is used to attack the selected creature, successful or not, the spell is destroyed.
Okay. So, effectively, you don't pick a creature type or outside or whatever. You have to actually know the name of what who you're shooting with these.
Who?
So it has that caveat. You've got
very
to
assassination-esque.
Is it now? So you have to actually have the name of the creature you're shooting with them. But if you do, obviously there's no misfire chance on things like bows and crossbows. That's a firearms thing. Mm-hmm. But if you're within 30 feet, target's touch AC. If you hit them, it's automatically a critical threat, and it will deal 6 extra points of damage. If you actually score a critical hit, not only do you don't just deal the 6 extra damage, you multiply that by your critical multiplier. So if it's with a bow, for example, which has a ×3 critical, that will be 18 additional points of damage along with your regular critical damage.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what each of these arrows is. Not to mention, they are +1 enchanted, so that's already another point of damage.
How many of those you got?
And these are called what now? These arrows? Excuse me. Are they just called named arrows or something?
You can call them whatever you want, because you guys didn't make them, so they don't have a specific name. It's not like she doesn't know of like a specific magic item that they are, so you can call them named arrows or something like that.
Okay. Well, this one's Paul. This one's George.
I like that guy. Fuck that guy in particular. Like,
this one's Ringo. And
yeah, there's 5 arrows.
Yeah, I have.
And they are at caster level 6, which is thus the 6 extra points of damage.
And they do +1 to hit.
+1 to damage. Is your bow masterwork?
Yes.
Okay, then you won't get the +1 to hit, because that's the same bonus type, but that's fine. Still adds 1 to the damage.
Because they don't stack.
Just throwing in my notes. That way I remember when I inevitably wait 30 sessions to use them. No, or I use them all today. That's how it could go.
How many do you have? 3? 5? Okay, cool.
Yeah, 5.
I don't know why I thought 3. 5.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So Rahala's like super excited about it. Doesn't like even when like she's telling you about this, and Sam, I assume, kind of gets this kind of look on his face of like, that sounds a little oddly specific. Like you name someone and then shoot them with an arrow. Like she doesn't appear to be getting the implication of that. She's just really excited about this magical item.
Just clarifying with her. So, for example, if I was shooting a magnificent looking, 20-pointer white-tailed deer out there, I have to know its name first?
You would, in theory, yes. I mean, I suppose if it doesn't have one, you could name it, but normally magic doesn't particularly work that way. The deer does have a name. You would have had to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I suppose you could do.
This would really only be useful against things that are given names.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
animals
Like
are
pets.
also given names,
Or
but like, what's wrong with you? Animals are also given names. We're just not privy to them. I hired a druid once for a job, and they were telling me how everything everywhere has a name. We just don't know them because we don't speak their language.
like pets, or family members. Yeah.
Yes. Right. Yes, that's, I suppose, true. Oh, God. Where did you find these?
Give incredibly specific examples.
Sorry, I looked over at chat. They're talking about food. So
Ignore the chat, and then how much I also want.
Ignore the man behind the curtain.
Don't normally ignore the chat. We love you guys, but in this case, shut up and talk.
Yes.
Yeah, these were. I mean, you went with Eli down there behind that wall, right where that gentleman exploded. Correct. She did, right? I'm not making that up.
No,
Or was
did
that
not
somebody
go-
else?
Like,
I thought you took Rahal.
She tested to see if she could go through. She just put her tattoo.
Yeah, she didn't actually
We
go
didn't
through.
have her go
okay.
into the other room.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, in that room where that dude exploded. Dude being an appropriate fantasy term.
Yeah,
Oh.
the bloke,
Well, at
as
least
I
that
like
means
to
that-
say.
I think that means they didn't belong to Clint, but
Splody bloke.
that's
Yeah.
where all the
Well, yeah, considering
the
the Markhams
bullshit
didn't.
was happening.
Yeah, the Markhams had no idea that room existed.
And if this man was some sort of one of them fancy assassin guys, I could see why they would have this.
I sincerely hope that's all of them.
Well,
Did
I mean,
any
if
of
he was
the-
carrying any, they're probably exploded.
Yeah, but did any of the bodies really have like? I don't remember them having like arrows in them though.
I mean, one guy was bisected, so he could have got shot with an arrow. We wouldn't have known.
A ballista.
Yeah, thinking about it, you realize like it's basically impossible to determine how
Puncture
these
wounds.
people were killed because of the like additional savagery that was about their deaths.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe a
NCIS higher.
serious
Anyways.
expert.
Oh my god. What a one shot to play.
Right?
One shot in quotation marks.
Hey, if
But,
we do it in second edition, there's a specific healing.
Yeah, there's like
Sorry,
a
going on.
forensics thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I don't.
yeah.
I mean, if I had had this when we were fighting, I'm blanking on his name.
Well,
leader of
good.
the
It's funny
bandits guy.
because you're blanking on his name because he doesn't
Oh,
exist
because it makes
anymore.
sense. Yeah.
No, not that guy. The leader of the bandits, the guy that had the sword.
Oh, okay.
Barda.
We didn't
Bardat,
fight
yes,
him
thank you.
though.
But, like, if I had to shoot him or
You know
something,
his name, yeah.
yeah, that would have been useful.
Could
All
have
right,
been a really good
Point
shot.
of inquiry. Now I'm talking like I'm a legal document. Anyways, point of inquiry is it. What if somebody gives you their name? Like if I said my name was Timothy, it's very obviously not. You only knew that, but you know me as Timothy. Do the arrows work based off what you know my name is or my true name?
Well,
it's mad.
I can go
That's
let
right.
a guard borrow this and try and shoot you, and you tell his name is Tim, and see how
I
it
would
works.
really appreciate you to not do that.
you can go. Actually, give me a spellcraft check if you are trained.
Bet. You know I am. Anyways,
This might be one of the situations where you like answer your own question, depending on what you roll.
Because it is an interesting theory. What if somebody's using a moniker? Or
18.
18. So, I would say you know enough to know that, like, first of all, true name is there's a bit of a dissonance there in what that can mean, right? Obviously, you mean just like your actual given name,
Yeah,
nothing
what
on
you
like
go
the odd.
I'm not
like,
getting into
esoteric
outsider
levels.
territory
Yeah.
where they have multiple names or whatever, or how people can have the protection of having like 85 actual names.
Exactly.
And then you only know the first one and the last one, so you don't know their true name because they have 85 names.
So, you know, generally in the case of spells that deal with this type of magic, if it's something you would accept as your name, right? So if you give a fake name, knowing it's a fake name, knowing it's not who you are or who you even say you are generally, then it's not going to work. But if you have legitimately, like if you have like 400 fucking names, it's actually easier then because you would
any of those
recognize
names
all
will
of them.
work.
Any of them will work. Yeah.
So like, this is not going to help the chat. I'm sorry. For context for me, if people knew Ren as Lafayette and they said Lafayette and shot this, it wouldn't magically work
No.
because he's not Lafayette, even though that's what everybody in like Sazabud knows him as.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mhm. It would fail. I mean, he would still be shot with an arrow.
Shot with an arrow.
But
The
it
last
would not
person
automatically
shot
crit,
Ren with
hit,
an
touch
arrow
AC.
Figured out that didn't work very well either because it just made me mad and I teleported around a whole bunch. Anyways,
But all the extra effect, no.
okay,
Just the
cool.
+1 to
The
hit
arrow
damage.
itself at least still functions as an arrow.
Yeah,
It'd be
yes,
real
it
weird if
still
it just like
functions.
disintegrated on the way there.
That would fucking suck.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, no. So yeah, you would actually like you ask that question, you go like, oh wait, I think I know the answer to this. Like, and like she's answering it as like it's kind of going in your head, and it's like, yeah, okay, it would work. It's just as long as you understand that to be your name. There's kind of a resonance that has to happen.
Makes sense. It's like, speaking of that, in that terms, for this character, Eli's wasn't my name, really. It was given to me, but it's what I've accepted as my name, so it obviously works.
Yeah,
I don't know what my like parents named me, so
right. Now, granted, if someone was to speak a like outsider equivalent true name, even if you didn't know it, that's just gonna work regardless.
Yeah.
Because that's just how those are. But
Mhm.
oh yeah, I forgot to do that. Put that suggestion in the Discord again. I'll actually remember to do it. I just keep forgetting to go and edit the channel.
yeah, we were talking about doing that
Oh,
last
that's
night because I was paying you a
right.
compliment last night, and I was like, before I did it, I was like, wait, Patrick's not in the chat, right? I don't want to say nice things about him while I can hear them because he'll feel uncomfortable. So we were talking about that last night.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. So
Well-
you guys get to discuss that. You get the arrows back, Sam.
Good job,
and then go ahead.
Rahala.
Oh, thank you. I'm a bit horrified now that I am thinking about the implications. I was in full sort of discovery mode. I don't know. If we haven't seen anyone shot and nobody's heard anything about anyone being attacked by an archer outside, anything like that recently, it makes me think that maybe these weren't used yet, but there were maybe plans to.
Certainly possible. I mean, we saw that they definitely had designs on doing some things. You know, I'd found this note. I'd bring up that, like, one of the scrolls, the one that says that if you're discovered, burn it. 3 barrels alchemist fire, dire despair. They definitely had, like, stuff to use in there. Which, speaking of, I start rifling through and I get those magical scrolls, and I'm like, we should figure out what these do.
Oh, gladly. She'll take them.
Yeah.
Hold on. What the
And
heck is my
I'll
dog?
show her the scroll with the stamps, by the way, and be like, do you recognize any symbols off the cuff? Dog tax. We probably won't get the dog tax. He's just being a goober.
Yes, if she
Well, I
recognizes any of the symbols.
I have a splinter in me. Yeah, I asked her if she recognized any of the symbols on the stamp thing. All the coded message with the stamps. If like any of those symbols seem familiar to her.
Pull up her feet real quick. I just realized it had gotten closed earlier. Okay, and sorry, repeat which symbols?
The symbols, the 7 different kinds of stamps that are on that one scroll that look like they're a coded message.
Okay. Let's see. Who wants to roll for Rahala today?
I guess
I
I
want
will.
her to roll well, so not me.
I mean,
Okay.
there's no guarantee I will, but
Listen,
I'll roll.
Molly?
Yes.
All 3 of us have a problem with rolling well.
This is going to be a linguistics check for her. That is
Okay.
at +7.
7. Oh hey! What do you know?
Whoa!
I think
Is that symbol a
somebody
snake?
voted for her too. Somebody voted
Yeah,
for her. I think
someone
Lawless
voted
Wasn't
for
did.
me.
me.
So
I
think it
voted
was
for
Lawless.
myself, as I often do.
So she's looking at them. She goes, I don't really recognize it. This one kind of looks like a snail. Well, that is a snail. It puts the paper down. You see a like papyrus-colored snail just like slide along the
Nice.
along the thing.
oh, I'm sorry, Ellie.
It's like brown, has little like striations and things across it. It's very excellently camouflaged. I've never seen one that looks like that before. They're really all over the place, aren't they? But no, I haven't the foggiest about these. Sorry.
It's all right. You know, I could, I guess, sit down and try and do some work with it, but I don't really think I'm the code breaking type. So
Some of my books back at the office, or just back in Saikan, so I
We'll
can
see
maybe look again
Regeki
if I
can-
need to.
get heads or tails of it too. You know, she may know. She seems to know a
Speaking
lot
which,
of
she
things.
enters.
Seems to know a lot of
Something you
things.
needed my help with.
Yeah, I show her the scroll. Well, I found this down in the secret area, and can't make heads or tails of it.
He stares at it for a moment and very gently takes it away from you. Kind of drags her finger across it a couple of times. I think this may be a cipher. But to what?
Yeah, maybe it needs a key, or it could be a linked cipher. I don't know a ton about code breaking. I heard there was this guy in the Caliphate who's really good at it, and unfortunately, we're nowhere near there. So it's not helpful.
You know
in
people in the
slightest.
Caliphate?
I know I do not. I heard of him because my master knew him because he was from the Caliphate. From Gurgen.
I'm not too bad at it myself, but without the rest of it, I mean, or anything to compare it to, it's not much to translate.
Right. Well,
Did you
I
want it
just shuffle
back?
through all the other pages, and I'm like, maybe there's something in here. I'm just like shuffling through other scrolls, and like, no,
It's
can't read
just
that
gonna
one.
say I'm the Zodiac killer, so whatever.
I mean, that would explain a lot about the murders that we've experienced recently.
What's a zodiac?
We would know what a zodiac is. It does. The
Perhaps we should
Hayethe
get
zodiac's probably way
to
different,
Yes.
the
but we would
point
still know.
of our meeting. We can go over the rest after.
Right.
Oh, yes, of course. That's right. was supposed to meet up with you after you took time to look at the thing.
Of course.
The wood piece.
And I have. And unfortunately, it's not good news, but it is news. The symbol branded on that piece of wood, I know it as a symbol of calling. It attracts either items or persons to it. The trouble is that they should have something that represents what they pull to them somewhere in the sigil. It's very, very old conjuration magic. Before the Renaissance of the Arcane, when the Alsani began to teach others magic and sort of unify the terminology and things that we call the schools, it's before they had a unified council, predating even the Senate Arcana and the Arcane Accords. We don't do sigils this way anymore. It's inefficient, but this specific one can't be recreated with modern summoning spells. And, unfortunately, it is also missing the rune that would show what it's attracting. I have a couple of theories on this. One would be that it's incomplete, and perhaps it was a bit unstable, and had sort of latched onto a random but unique thing in the area. The second is, and Rahal actually cuts in and says, that it's variable, that it doesn't have to have a specific thing, it can change, and that someone changed it, or something changed it. Because it's not broken, obviously it worked. And Rugeki nods. And Rahal just looks really confused, because that makes no sense, though. Like, not for something like that, where you're using runes. I mean, you know this. She's, like, gesturing to Eli. Magic does what it does. It's... You know? Rugeki nods, but there's, like, a hesitation in it. She's yes and no. It's possible to alter runes, to remove them, replace things, and to change what's there. My honest concern is that the latter of these two things is, I think, actually the more likely. The former, that it just latched onto something random, is a bit of a shot in the dark. Wayward runes, magic, incomplete and unstable, can have a litany of different effects, or just land on that and be the correct answer is unlikely. But the second thing is very possible, as long as there was something there capable of altering it. You mentioned an entity you encountered.
Right. I did. Which, again, I unfortunately don't remember. But I also met with an invisible chap downstairs. I forgot about that. That just happened. When I hadn't got to mention it to you yet because I hadn't seen you in the previous 2 hours. I was down investigating when I found these scrolls, and one of the scrolls you can't read. Like, try it. I just hold the scroll out.
Squint. like she's looking into the sun. Just
So you can't read that. I can't read that. Nobody here can read that. And there was like a voice that said something about it, and they took the scroll. First off, I of course asked them who they were or where they were, and they were like, "I'm invisible." And then they took the scroll, and I was like, "Oh, you really are invisible." I thought they were just saying that. So then they took the scroll and they read it, I guess, and they were like, "Yeah, you can't read this right now." And I was like, "Yeah, I know that."
Give me a bluff check. Very crucially pivoted there. It was good. It was a good lie.
Oh, come on! It was the 19,
Oh, snap!
It was. It hovered too. Oh, it made out with that 19 and decided it wasn't about it.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Had to go back to the good old snails.
Alright. Lamia and Eli are tied.
So, as you're like saying that, you almost don't know, like you just barely notice that she gets a little distracted and like kind of holds a finger up and like reaches over and pulls a small snail off of your shoulder, which looks like which does this snail look like, Panda? Give us a snail description.
So this one is actually quite large. Think of like a $50 size, like the shell. It's not itty bitty, and you would swear, if you kind of squint your eyes and look at it, it's mostly like gray, a dark gray shell. But if you squint and kind of twist your eyes, it kind of looks like a raccoon face looking at you, like some kind of weird evolutionary trait to like, oh, it's like some kind of small predator or something like that. And
Nice.
it's for its body, it's lime green.
I am a predator. I'm also poisonous.
So, yeah.
Get away
I'll
from
start
me.
They got eyes
So-
that go in every direction. So they got prey eyes, but they also got predator eyes.
Right.
Go forward.
So when she picks that up and she just, like puts it in your hand and goes, I'm sorry, that was a bit distracting. And when you like kind of repeat it, it doesn't quite come out right.
Yeah.
And you get the very distinct sense that she knows you're leaving something out, but she doesn't seem to pursue it.
Oh yeah, I was to say as I babble, I'm like, and the thing it also thanked me for something I did earlier, I think, and that I was confused about because obviously I don't remember. So I was like, oh, that had to have happened in the blank space of my memory.
That blank space is becoming quite alarming.
Well, we only have to wait till Check's imaginary watch, and I mean this in that Eli is also not wearing a watch. Check's imaginary watch tomorrow. I don't know why I keep doing that. I've never owned a watch.
Rahal has a slightly smug look. She's just, it must be exhausting to not be used to this. We're full of developments.
Can I sense motive that I've never owned a watch?
Yeah,
Sure.
go for it. Sense that motive, baby.
I need to know if it's a 1.
No, it's
Yeah,
13.
that's
Okay, it
basically
wasn't a 1.
that's what I was trying.
Dude, if we had triple 1s.
I also haven't rolled in a minute, so
I've never owned a
that's
watch,
fair.
sucker. Anyways,
Oh, he's lying. Wow.
yeah,
That's funny.
But anyway,
I own
so
a pocket watch, but I don't count that because it's not a wristwatch.
so
It's still a bluff, which is dumb.
yeah, she reveals that, and it says the alarming part of that is this entity called that item specifically. I mean, if we're going along with the assumption that it's true that something was changing this.
Right. So this, I waggle the scroll we can't read in way too aggressive of a manner. This thing we can't read. It could apparently read. It looked like it could read it. And it could, if it's the same one, which I don't know that it is, but it seems to reason. If it's the same one, you'd also possibly change that symbol, which is a lot of ability to read a thing we can't read and change runes on a circle for a bed.
It is. And there are very few things that have this.
It mentioned Lady Mishani as well.
Did it?
It did, yeah.
I see.
And that this scroll apparently belongs to Mishani because it said something about it being theft that we removed this. I think it was talking about this. I mean, it said this scroll. So either the information on the scroll is an act of theft because we're removing it from it's being removed from the library, or the scroll is from the library. I'm assuming the archive, of course, but the library in the
Yes.
archive, and so yeah.
Yes, anything being removed from the Hollow Archive, I imagine Lady Mishani not being too pleased about. This is actually something I talked with Clint about. His studies run very deep.
Mhm.
He did mention. We got into a conversation about deities, of course, and their workings, specifically centered on the Hollow Archive, because I began to suspect something related. The deities all have agents, so to speak, things that they can send into this plane to do their work. It's done sparingly because there is a cost to everything, and these creatures carrying parts of their power can be lost. So it is not done lightly. Mishani's agents are the ones easily known the least about. But Clint himself has a few theories. He and the old circle he used to run with just dubbed them simply the Unknown, and believed that they had encountered one a long time ago. An old acquaintance of his had, he had seen a few years back, and then the next time they met, there was something that was a bit off about him. To shorten the story, his group, were trying to catch up with this person, and they started to kind of grill them, and showing clear signs of suspicion and trying to figure out what was different about them. None of them could quite put their finger on it, but there was a change, he says. The next day, after they all had to kind of write it off, most of these things were not provable, they didn't want to get aggressive, they just disappeared. And to this day, Clint says anytime he brings them up, he seems to be the only one who really remembers them. The rest of the people in this group can recall the name vaguely, but when they try to think of their face or stories about them, they're fuzzy.
Okay.
Clint has the same problem, just not as much. He says that he remembers more than they do, but he began to dive into those studies, and he believes that Mishani has agents that come to remove certain things from the world, reclaim them as part of their power if they escape. But this being the Hollow Archive we're talking about, we don't know what those things would be, or really their true methods, what dangers are involved. But when you have things that, as you say, are like this scroll that slipped from memory, when Mishani's name begins to come up, when we're talking about entities that are near indescribable, I can think of no other who would interact with the world in this way, so secretive, trying to remove its own present, emphasis on memory and forgetting. She is the goddess of secrets.
Well, I don't know. Seems like we really stepped in one here. We ran into somebody previously who kind of stuck their foot into Mashani's business before, and we had a similar experience with the memory problems like what Clint had, where nobody remembers them but us.
He nods. It wouldn't be something following you. Obviously what's below the manor is premeditated. I think what's baffling me is trying to connect these pieces. We have what was clearly an undead Avarak beneath the barn in a portion of the cellar that was hidden away from all of us. Hell, even in a cellar that's been locked for some time. Clint hid it away for a reason. And hasn't used it for a reason. But not this reason. How is an assassin, that what we presume is an assassin down there, and his lackey in the secret area linked to the murder of a team going to the Spirit's Path and this place?
Alchemist fire and a bunch of other things that apparently they weren't supposed to be discovered with, but obviously teleporting out and about, possibly with this room, or at least using it to gain secret access even without teleportation, like this brooch could pass through walls. But that was the guy's, the lackey, right? So he obviously didn't have the ability to like teleport and do anything like that. So we don't know. There was access to the room from this area. There was so many things that it seemed disparate but are somehow all connected. We still don't really have a mode of, like, we can see vaguely how they did this, but we really don't have a mode of how they accomplished this, right? And we definitely don't have motive. Like, I don't understand the motive at all.
Right. What does this accomplish? What did it... No. Let's think about this a different way. What did this nearly accomplish?
I was trying to mute myself, sorry. I sneezed too hard.
What did this nearly accomplish? If, for example, you all hadn't stopped that Avarak, or I think you said that there was plans to release it in a future date.
Right.
What if it hadn't gotten free? Its release on the new moon?
Mm-hmm. What's happening is there anything specific happening on the new moon?
Not particularly. Other than the fact that it's darkest then.
Right, so it's going to get as much purchase as it can?
It's closest... Well, actually, if we had continued our exhibition matches, if most of the contestants hadn't fled, that would have been the day of the finals for that, when that was decided.
Okay, so the finals were going to be on the no moon, but
they would have been completed by the time night arose, of course.
But obviously, the murders stopped the competition. So those two things aren't coming from the same plan, right?
Possibly.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we know how long the people that got murdered were going to be here? And if there were any plans to move us, like, into that room potentially? Or whoever was going to win the competition?
They were intended to actually travel with us.
So they were going to
been in that room that entire time.
Okay.
I mean, it definitely seems like whoever was in that room is the intended targets. These people worked for Dorat, right?
Yes.
So Dorat has a lot of enemies. That's the only motive I can think of. That's the only connection I can come up with, is that they knew that Dorat's team was there. I mean, that's why we were suspects, right?
Yes.
Besides the proximity of us being in the house.
It would be strange to try to pin something like that on the Markham family, given that, Casimira is betrothed to one of the Dorat.
Sure.
It just doesn't... To try to frame the family for that, it would be hard to produce a motive for
I don't
Markham.
think they were trying to frame necessarily. I think this is a rigging, in a way. You take the Dorat team out of it, it either harms Dorat, and they aren't going to have a team, the team they want. I'm sure they could hire a new one. They have a lot of money. they're not going to have the people they want. And it obviously has upset the like balance between Kasmira and her betrothed. They're very right now. And then you also, besides that, we locked down the manor basically, or the manor was locked down, right? We were put as suspects. If any other teams had still really been about and been close, they would have too, right? I mean, I'm sure they got investigated. And besides that, it changed where we all were. Like, it moves everything. You use this as a catalyst to put pieces in position where you want them.
Yes. It also got Nomala and Clint out of the manor.
Right.
So these two events, the massacre and the escaping Alvarok, do on the surface seem competing, but perhaps they weren't. Maybe.
And I also wonder where the Alvarok was supposed to be released, because like we had to dig that door out. It's very possible that that's not the intended exit point for this thing. If we weren't snooping about, that door would remain buried under a lot of dirt.
So the path of least resistance is the exit onto the room.
Right. Releasing that thing into the manor is going to cause a frenzy. And that room is empty because the occupants of the room were murdered. So it gets free access in the house and nobody knows how it got there. There's just all of a sudden an undead Alvarok in a room tearing through that poor guard I've scared like 4 times. Because he hears a noise, he opens the door. It's not us snicking about. It's this thing standing in the middle of the room ready to rip his arms off.
I think that's a safe enough inference to draw, that would have been where it would come out. So, then let's imagine for a moment that these things are specifically connected, not two separate parties working apart from one another. We then see this as intentional dispersing of our competition, of our exhibitions, so to speak. They would have known that those weren't happening. So maybe we say our exhibition matches are maybe a red herring. Mm-hmm. Those aren't an important piece of this. What's important are the results we've got, and we know the only disruption in that plan thus far is the Alvarok creature escaped early. I would very much like to stay here and deduce this with you. I do have many other duties to attend to, and I am supposed to report back to Clint again.
I understand. We have more evidence to try and gather anyway, so we can make more well-founded conclusions instead of us just trying to talk through it.
He does plan to be back either tonight or in the morning, so...
well, maybe we can get with Clint and see if we can put our heads together. He has a lot of expertise and experience that I definitely don't have. Also, I'll remember what happened in the bookcase by then.
In the morning, yes. That would be good. Maybe that will help. I think, for now, I will go speak with him, and in the meantime, could one of you do me a favor? Could you find Miles? To be fair, my title here is assistant, but I act as a steward and housekeeping lead. I am not meant to be the fixed point and primary point of contact in the absence of Clint Markham. It is to be his eldest. He's merely troubled at the moment, but now is the time for a call to action. If one of you could spur him to at least come back to the manor and make his presence known, I would very much appreciate it.
Sure, we can jump on that. I kind of smack Sam in the arm, and I'm like, I do the point like you or me, kind of like this to him, Like,
No, point at me.
like,
If
I mean,
you
you
can.
guys.
I'm
Was
sure
he supposed to be
Casimiro
in town, or?
Well, he was supposed to be here. You actually can kind of see
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a like frustration, but also concern, almost like I wouldn't say motherly, like, but familial. Like
Yeah.
she cares about him, but she's mad at him.
Family. Anyways.
I got.
Family.
I might have an idea.
Okay, because as I was going to say, you chatted with him a bit and you got to know him okay. So I feel like also
Yeah.
you're probably better at finding people than me, let's be honest. That's why I hired you. So you probably have the best chance of finding him and having a rapport with him already.
Yeah.
Gotta say, that's a hard word to say in this accent. I just want everybody to appreciate that.
Rapport?
Rapport. Yeah, it's a tough word, mate.
Rapper. Now, if he's not in town, I know where he might be. I'll check there first. Where he might be.
By the way, I plan on requesting you will be paid for your venture in the cellar there. That was well above and beyond the call of duty. I'm sure it just slipped Clint's mind, but I should be able to have some pay for you for that.
Well, we certainly appreciate it. And I just want to say, too, that I'd like to apologise in advance about the argument we had about that whole thing. I was just very tense at the moment. And
it's not really in advance, but I understand.
It didn't ultimately matter. Well, before we, got into it later as part of the discussion of what I mean by apologize in advance. But it didn't really matter which order we went in. I was just not having it that day. So,
At least it didn't turn out to be a huge battlefield, type of thing. It's not like we need a Medal of Honor or anything like that.
I'm super glad there wasn't another one. That's all I have to say.
Third first-person shooter game.
Yeah,
She does give a slight bow and say, I thank you. It's... No matter one's candor, it takes a lot to apologize and admit fault. And I'm sorry if I did come across as aggressive. We were all quite tense.
It was a stressful time. It's understandable.
It was indeed. There it is. Hydrate, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoop. I mean, I just did that, but I'll do it again. Also, speaking of hydrate, can we take a break to go pee?
Yes.
Since we finish this scene.
Speaking of hydrate, and do the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So to wrap this, did anyone just detect? Does anyone have any other stuff you wanted to talk to Regeki about before she leaves to go to Clint again?
No, but I did want to note that I did want to look for another eye here in the dining.
Oh, in the dining.
Yeah, because it is
while you
not.
guys are talking.
Yes, because it hasn't been looked for.
Around.
Yeah.
As whenever you get that, like, wait a minute, you start kind of moving stuff and looking around. Regeki says, "I've checked this room."
And you didn't find it, or you did and you erased it already?
There was none, thankfully. You're welcome to look again.
Yeah, it's better safe than sorry.
You guys continue your conversation. Give me a perception roll there.
Yeah.
Perception.
Darn. Yeah. I don't find it. Yeah. Okay. Now we should be good.
Regeki. So yeah.
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, if nothing else for her, then yeah, she'll take her leave and just leave you with you. Try to find Miles and ask you to, if you don't have anything else to like specifically do, see if you can put your heads together and maybe figure out what all the details of this are. Because that way, when you want to talk to Clint, we don't have to like rehash. It's fine if we do, but that way you're not like having to rehash the facts again.
Yeah.
You can just like come in with like, okay, here's what we're thinking, right?
But I want to give a dramatic read down of the things that happen when I walk in the study. Or
you still have to compile the facts to do that first.
That's true.
You gotta have them.
Do the very classic, detective show off move where they
I was gonna say, let's be monk about it.
Incredibly superior deduction of everything that happened.
But yeah.
And the second clue I noticed when the clock had stopped at 11:15. Sorry, because the first clue was 11:15. The second clue was also 11:15.
All right.
Well, no, because I don't know.
The basic advice there is when you're putting the facts together for this kind of thing, figure out what has happened, what you can deduce was intended to happen, and then see if you can extrapolate what the effects would be. because you're trying to figure out. Right now, we're still on what the hell's the motive? Why do any of this? Right?
Yeah.
Because we got some other method and that kind of stuff. But
we've kind of figured out who has the means, right? In some ways, we've determined that the means are difficult, anyways, and we've determined the means of the doom for the most part, right? But yeah, we're definitely trying to figure out the motive, and we're trying to figure out who exactly had the opportunity to pull this off, because as people know, it means motive, opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
No, it's the median and the mode.
gotta have all
For
three.
now, we go to break.
Yes.
Break time.
We'll come back at 5 till. So,
5 till what?
So 10:55.
Your face.
10:55 Central. And away screen.
I gotta refill my water.
Yeah, we lost that.
Ah!
Just before the dog tax.
Well,
Oh well.
You know, she missed out. She missed out. We got dog here.
There's
This
the
is
dog.
Harley.
And
He
I'm
hates
standing
this.
like my brain is empty. He does.
Hey, what's that panda's eating? Is that a...
Is
that a
it
sandwich?
peanut butter? Is it got peanut butter in it? I heard
Oh.
you said the word peanut butter like 8
I can
times.
smell it through the screen.
Yeah. I'm all the way in the garage, and he heard me say peanut butter like 8 times. So
There you go, buddy. You may escape. My good boy. What?
One of my favorite reactions with Harley
What?
was he was in Patrick's room. I was in the kitchen,
No.
and I
No,
pull
no.
up the bunch of bananas and I pull one off, and it
This
goes,
is good.
makes that noise, and I hear click, 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 and him like, I hear a banana about to be eaten. Oh boy! And it's Panda, so he'll give me 2 bites.
oh man, he's such a goober.
He's a freaking maniac.
Very true.
Okay.
Very true.
Yeah,
What a
yeah.
fun
We're
game.
live. We're live.
We're live.
We're live, pal. Anyway,
Live from Oklahoma City. Or Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Oklahoma.
only one of us is in Oklahoma City.
yeah. Where all the good Vietnamese food is.
Maybe the Oklahoma
Vietnam
is
is
the
where all
friends
the
we
good
made on-
Vietnamese food is now.
That's entirely too far. to be real.
It is. It's way too far from Vietnamese cuisine.
So yes, we return, and Rugeki takes her leave. It's just you jokers. Just you. Let's see. Okay, cool. So you basically got today. You got today to do any more like looking around or whatever. Fucking relaxing, buying shit, whatever you want to do before tomorrow Clint shows back up and we move time ever forward.
So, Sam, you're gonna go try and find Miles. Do you need help? What do you think?
Sorry, I
you'll
was
do?
trying to unmute myself on not the screen that I was muted on for some reason.
You good, mate?
No, I should be able to.
Okay. Well, if you need anything, send the bird. We'll follow the bird back to you if for some reason you need help, right?
I mean, if y'all want to come along, y'all are welcome to.
Well, I mean, there's other stuff we can do. Is the problem? Like, I'm trying to be efficient here, if possible. Because Rahala and I can check out some of these scrolls and try and see if we can make heads or tail of the magic on them.
No,
And then
I
can
should be
also
able to handle it.
look around the manor some more, hopefully. See if I can find anything. Check with people. Ask questions.
You're gonna identify some scrolls.
Try and figure out how Rahala was in 2 places at once.
So you're gonna identify scrolls and then ask some questions about the place.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We know Sam's gonna go get Miles. Lami, are you doing anything specific?
I'm gonna go ahead and start searching the entire manor for, each room besides the ones that we have that for those eyes.
That's pretty much an all-day task.
Yep, that's what I'm
Okay.
doing all day.
Okay. So, all right. So what we'll do is we'll jump over to Sam. Sam, where are you looking for Miles?
His wife's grave, right? What, fiance's?
Yes, his fiance's grave. His late fiance's grave, obviously.
So-
It's a grave.
No, his current fiance. They just bought a plot for her. And he just hangs out there.
That's dark sounding. I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
look,
we just out
part
here
of getting
waiting.
married to me
have
is
you-
that everything in your life will be taken care of. Like, we even have a plot picked out for a funeral.
also-
like,
I'm sure everybody's met those people who you're like, when they talk about their current significant other, you're like, why are you with them? Because they're just talking about how they're like waiting for them to die, basically. And it's very much, it's just like, no, I got the plot, I got the beers, I got the cake somebody's gonna jump out of, I've got fireworks, and it's like, bro, you need to chill. She's like 30.
Why you talking like this is happening tomorrow? Why
Yeah,
you not be
exactly.
here? It's,
no, I'm here with you. That's my alibi.
That's my alibi. It's like, I don't want to be a part of anybody's alibi. No, thank you.
Hey,
blink twice if you know what plausible deniability means, because we need to establish that right fucking now.
look, man, I worry about shit like that. Like, that's a little off topic, but it's, where were you 2 years ago in February? I don't know, man.
I thought you were going to say I worry about being in a relationship where I'm ready for one of us to die quickly.
No, like, it's like, I
That's
don't,
what I
like,
thought you were going to say.
Like,
I'm
having an
probably,
alibi
like-
for some crazy shit, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
well, somebody driving the same make and model as your vehicle, ran over a
You're worried about being my cousin
the
Vinny.
Pope, or something. Yeah, or something like that. Because
Yeah.
this is
Where-
not exactly a unique looking individual.
You're driving a similar car. There's a dude who works at Walmart who looks just like you. Not
Yeah,
just
and
like
if
you,
he
but close
kills
enough.
somebody, they might think it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I gotta figure out where I was. I
thing
don't know,
that
man. Probably talking
Definitely,
about.
definitely a thing that happens and scares the shit out of white people all the time. I feel so sorry for you.
I mean,
So,
I would assume then you
Jesus.
kind of know that paranoia.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh yeah, bruh. like,
I had another thing I was gonna say. It's fucking gone because that was way
Annie.
too good.
I just
But
gotta
it's
get a
good
face
because let's
tattoo.
get back on topic, please.
Nobody
Mike
can
Tyson.
impersonate me if I have a face tattoo.
nope.
No, it's
This
gonna
is
be.
me.
It's gonna get a tattoo of a face on my face.
on my face.
I'm
Slightly
thinking
off
Kirsten
center.
Dunst.
No. Okay, so you're gonna go to the clearing in the woods there.
Yes.
Um,
Been there before.
what? Hold on.
Du-du-du-du-du. Are you commenting on the music? Or
Yeah.
kind of epic music for going to a grave?
This will do. So, obviously, it's storming again because you're in Sitsekia. And you can't have nice things here.
Sorry, I don't know why that got me.
I almost said something real fucked up. So, you head into this clearing where you believe Miles to be. And you do find him. And what people were saying about him not really being in a good place is immediately obvious. You don't know how long he's actually been out here. But when you kind of walk up just close enough to actually see him, he is pacing about the area. And you can see that, sort of like before, the rain isn't really hitting this specific little area. It seems to be spared from it. It's not sunny. There's no, like, sunbeams down on it. There's no opening in the clouds. The rain just seems to miss it. Despite this, Miles... did I say Clint earlier? Either way, Miles... you can see
A
that
Markham
like
who's a
he's
male and is
yeah.
between a certain age.
Markham the younger. No, so you can see that he has mud like almost up to his knees on his pants. He actually has like his jacket kind of slung over one shoulder, even though he's pacing out of the area that's spared of the rain, so he's drenched. And his right hand, you can see him holding looks to be an empty bottle. Just you can tell it's empty because of the way that he's gesturing and moving his arm. There's no liquid coming out. He's holding it upside down. It's bereft. He's depleted.
Can I have a prepared action to catch it if it's thrown at me?
Sure.
That sounds like a weird thing. Just or dodge.
That sounds like somebody who's interacted with enough drunk people to me.
And you mostly hear him talking. Like he's talking to someone. And he's angry. And you can hear the occasional sort of break in his voice. Someone who is either currently crying or on the verge of it. And as you get close enough to actually kind of hear what he's saying, all you hear him say is, "I don't know what to do. Why aren't you here?" And he stops. You can see him kind of tapping his head with the bottle. Why the fuck am I the one doing this? I tosses the bottle to the ground. I'm not my father. He kind of squats, arms on his knees. I ain't nobody. Not when it's just me. And then he's quiet.
I don't think that's true.
That gets a reaction. Damn! Throws the bottle you're catching. I don't know how many gods there are, Sam, but ooh, you better thank all of them.
Is he still kind of low? Or
he stands all the way up and walks over and says, "Sorry about that. I'm glad you got the reflexes of a cat, apparently."
I've had bottles thrown at me before.
I'll take that off your hands.
It's empty.
Yeah, you find me in a sore spot. Rainy day, and well, you heard my conversation with my sister. She don't approve. But I mean, I'm sure you agree that there's certain times for everything.
Well, I'm gonna get business out of the way first. They need you back at the manor.
Nah, they don't need me. They need my father. They need Radecki. They need my sister. That's who they need. It's about time everybody started to realize that. Only one who seems to know is Casimir. She understands the worthless piece of shit that her brother is. Look, I mean, I know you don't want to hear it, Sam, and you're probably going to disagree because you got a good heart, but I unfortunately, I know my colors on the inside. I know all this shit that comes up whenever the pressure gets too much and it starts to ooze out. I know what's coming out of me, and it ain't greatness.
Well, this is about drinking, or you think that's just what you are as a drunk?
Yeah, I suppose.
That you're not gonna live up to the greatness of your father?
I mean, who can?
Well, fuck all that.
Sorry.
He
That's
does
a
look
great
little
thing to say.
surprised.
It's just,
You can do whatever you want to do. right now they do need you. So I would say work up a little bit on the inside, what you can do, and put forth that effort. And sorry, I'm trying to. I'm not. I don't have this written out.
That's fine. Yeah, you're good.
And I'm sure whatever you think you are, you're more than your what is the saying? You are more than your parts made as a whole, or whatever, like that. Like your sum is greater than
your parts.
Yeah.
Greater than the sum of your parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It don't surprise me to hear you say that.
I'm sure you get that a lot. I'm sure people tell you that you're a great person. You can do whatever you set your mind to. You can take over this family. Things like that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he pauses. You're not trying to hear that, are you?
You don't exactly. It doesn't seem to me that that's not exactly what you.
Yeah, you might be right there. That's my. It's hard to. He pauses. There's a much longer pause for brevity. Obviously, we're not going to sit through that.
Yeah.
But you can tell that he's trying to sort through his thoughts, and you can see that the kind of emotion sort of galvanized him a little bit. But you can also see the little bit of off balanceness to his standing, and you can tell he's not quite sober. You don't know how long ago he drank all that. Might have been fucking yesterday, but he's not washed. But you can see he's not quite sober, and it's taken him a minute. But when he finally gathers it up, Sam, this ain't in an effort to lord my station over somebody, but you say you grow up on a farm. You close to the earth, you know. You work for what you want, and the goals are clearer the closer you are to the ground. I was born with my head in the clouds, and most of the time, when people live life that way, they find many disappointments, because that's a hard expectation to meet. But believe me when I tell you, he motions to the grave. All my expectations were met for most of my life. I mean, you met my father. I have a great family. I've wanted for nothing. I had education. I'm a tournament winner when it comes to swordsmanship. I was gifted athletically. I had everything a person could want. Bright future, perfect wife, perfect family. I had all of that stuff that everybody else works their ass off for. And I am struggling to survive the fall. If you know what I mean by that. And I'm unfortunately the only one of this family who is taking it this way. You can tell there's more, but it just kind of falls. It just fades. He doesn't have anything else.
Well, if you don't, I'm gonna come up with some family history real quick about the good.
Go for it.
If you're fine with me, okay.
Always fine with that.
Well, my family is probably some of the most important. I'm trying not to copy your accent. Tractor, yeah, fishing. My family's probably the most important thing to me. And before my great grandfather, great grandmother, uh, you know, his father, my great greats, were also on a farm, but they got hit with pestilence, a famine where nothing would grow, and um, you know, you think our family was is big now. Back then, it was pretty large, had plenty of kids, and not very many made it.
Sorry to hear that.
So it was a turbulent time, but the great greats, they did what they could. Maybe not all of it was an honorable thing to do, poaching and the like, but they had to do it so they could survive and continue surviving for not only themselves but other loved ones. Now, I don't really want. I was never told the details. They just were told to me. You don't tell your grandchildren about the terrible things you had to do. You just tell them of the dark times and stuff like that. Now, for you, this is a dark time, and let's hope in many years you're telling some grandchildren or great nieces, if you don't have any. I'm sure your sister might go on to have some kids, that there were times in your past that were rough, but you did what you had to do and you got through it. Now, I'm not telling you have to do this. You're your own person. You can do whatever you want. I mean, I'm not here trying to, be some kind of world expert here. You train in swordsmanship. I can shear sheep. I know when it's best to plant, by the phases of the moon. Things like that. Things that were held down through history. We all know different things. And when you say your head was in the cloud, you're a dreamer, correct? Is that what you meant? Or did you mean something else by that? Because that may have been lost on me.
I was a bit of both. Definitely a dreamer.
Well, when I was a youngin' chopping wood and stuff like that, I would like to pretend I was a knight fighting, fighting off all these villains and things like that, swinging this axe like it was some kind of great sword. And, I didn't think I'd actually end up having a great sword. I kind of looked to my side, and doing the things I'm doing, but life turned out that way. I was riddled with arrows not super long ago.
Hell of a pep talk, Sam. Anyways.
Yeah, and I got out of it. I survived, of course, because I'm here talking to you. And I thought, well, shit, I'm done working with Eli. I almost died, I thought about that. I'm going back home. But I thought about that. I said, well, I did survive. And if I wasn't here, that may have been some other, individual, and he possibly could have died. And he wouldn't be able to go home to his family. So I guess I'll be the one who's capable in here doing it. And I think you're capable, for at least a bit, leading this family.
Well, that's a hell of a pep talk you got there.
I was trying to wrap it up because I don't want to just be rambling.
Yeah, you good.
Uh,
That's
so we need to get
guess
back.
Go ahead.
Gotta get you a bath, and because we don't want any more folk getting massacred out there. I found these arrows, and I pull out those arrows that I had, and I had our friend identify them. And if you know the name of an individual, and you shoot this at them, it can do devastating things to them. These are made to kill people that you know the name of, not animals. These aren't for hunting. These are for killing people.
I'm presuming you mean beyond the capabilities of a typical arrow.
Yes. They're magic in function.
Damn.
So, and these were found underneath that barn, along with many other things that you probably need to know about.
These. Now you're not pulling my leg, just telling me something. Fuel me up. That's what these are for. Like, you name a person's name.
Yeah, like I wanted to test it with Eli, but we were gonna have him tell one of your guard folk a wrong name and have him try and shoot him with it. But we decided that was a bad idea.
Yeah, it would have been.
But I thought about, well, I can't use these. I don't want to kill a man, but I was, like I said, riddled with arrows at one point. And I knew the name of this leader of this bandit group. And if it came to blows where we had to fight this man, well, I know his name.
You.
Yes.
Yeah. The fact that these was under the house, that could have been for anybody. That's all right. Yeah, that puts things in a bit of perspective. I could have been out here feeling sorry for myself.
You're allowed to
off
do
my
that.
face. No, not when the rest of my family who are still around could have. What if somebody come after them, and I'm out here?
Or
No.
I don't want to mention this, but you could very well also be a target for these arrows.
I mean, you're not wrong, Sam, but
You are.
when you've
You're
been
of
in
the
a dark enough time,
Yeah.
that's not the important thing. I would prefer it, but just like you did, put yourself in the line of fire for somebody else not to be there. That's not what concerns me. It's my sisters, these other people who need to go home to their families. Look, I am no stranger to violence. I might be able to take some of that better than they would, but not if I'm out here in the woods, moping around. I think I have extracted the core of your message.
I'm not usually very good with words, but I'm glad that I was able to do that.
You speak from the heart, and that shows. I guess let the others know I'll be back in due time. I just want a few more minutes, and then I'll head back in.
All right. Who was unable to make a decision without his? Was it Regeki or was it?
Reggie didn't necessarily need him like specifically as like for a specific thing. It's just she's having to do her job and then like run back and forth between like Clint and back to the house. Mm-hmm. That's not like her, being the leader of the household is not actually her job.
Okay,
she's Clint's assistant. It's Miles's duty while Clint's out of the house.
Okay. Well, I'll say, I'm gonna go tell Regeki that you're gonna be on your way back. Because she's, oh, and she is like a bird building a nest. You see him running back and forth. She's having to go into town, talk to your father, come back here and try and run things. She
Oh,
she
now,
she could
now with the
definitely
guilt, now you're gonna
you
put
could
the
definitely
guilt
use
on
your
me.
help. But
I'll spare her that. Just
yeah.
let her know she can be on her way. I won't
Okay.
be long. Thank you, Sam.
All
You
right.
hear him let out a long sigh. And he walks back over to the grave, and as you're leaving, you hear him just say, "Well, that was a hell of an outburst you just watched happen. I apologize for that." You can tell that he wants to kind of wrap up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you head back to the manor. As you're heading back, just as you get nearly kind of out of the wooded area, you look very concerned.
Uh-huh. I know it's not a ninja, so what is it in this campaign? Our other campaign, I have to worry about going out by myself because there's a ninja that wants to kill me.
Oh, it's gonna be that lion.
Oh god.
You mean the tiger?
Tiger, yeah.
Oh, that's
No, the
right. It
bear.
was a
Oh,
tiger.
my.
That's right.
No,
Good.
That's the problem with
you see
problem
leaning
ninjas.
against one of the trees is Casimir. As you go to pass, she says, "So he's coming back?"
Yeah, he has to wrap some things up here, but yeah, he'll be headed on his way back, I think.
You can see a little bit of mud on her shoes, and if you kind of glance down and notice, you realize there's some footprints leading a little bit further into the woods. I think she might have been a bit closer to the conversation than it appears. Kind of, she's not really looking at you. She's keeping her back to the tree. She's facing toward the house, a little bit away from you, kind of shielded by her hair. But you do see the hand kind of come up. Well, I'm glad you talked some sense into him. I wasn't going to have a lot of nice things to say.
Well, apparently I'm decent at giving pep talks. Do you need one too? You got some things you want to say?
No, I think I'm okay now. It's just frustrating. She finally looks over at you. Eyes are dry enough. He doesn't get it. And you've talked to him now. He's always so damn down on himself. She starts walking back to the manor.
No.
Walking with you.
Yeah, I'll go with her. Well,
people can have more than one hero. Not just my dad. Miles wasn't always like that, not when I was little. So, it's hard to see him like that. If you got through to him, I'll find a way to repay you.
y'all have done more than enough for me, anyway. I would say, but as a brother to many other brothers and sisters, and countless cousins and the like, you're a good sister, and I think he's a good brother.
He, when he's at his best, he's unrivaled. He just hasn't been there in a long time. And Sam, if you've talked some sense into him, and he's finally, maybe he just needed to hear another voice. But if you did that, she shrugs. If you did that and you think we've done enough already, you don't understand how much he means to us.
And if it
You
ever
can
gets
hear
too
kind of
much
a
for me.
hitch when she's breathing, and she's like, "Oh, gotta go." It punches you in the arm and runs
Yeah.
off.
Okay. I was going to make a joke, but that works too.
Yep, nope, she's escaping quickly.
Which I will save for the rest of the audience. I was going to say, well, if it ends up being too much for him, he can always come work on our farm. But yeah. That is what I was going to say. But
You might still have heard it, but
Yeah.
she's escaping. You know? Very cool. So you make it back.
Now, yeah.
Rigeki's already left. She wasn't specifically telling you had to tell her. She was just like, hey, if you can get him to come back, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Because then there's somebody here, right? About 15 minutes or so pass, and Miles returns. He just kind of is acting like no big deal, right? From the help, or just like, hey, oh, let me take your coat. He's like, I got it. I need to, hey, let me clean up my own mess. That's not how he sounds, but I'm just speeding along, so I don't have the accent down anymore.
No.
All right, I got this. You got to go Matthew McConaughey for him. So, so for the other two of you, once Sam returns, we've got, he's going to spend the whole day looking for eyes on the walls, because that doesn't sound totally insane out of context.
Looking for the eyes in the walls. I mean, that's like Eli's going to walk around an entire room with a brooch held to a wall for an entire friggin' whatever, same level of nutso. Exactly.
Speaking of, I asked you a question, but I guess you didn't hear it.
I did. I answered you in the talking. You just didn't hear because Panda was talking. I think I did, but I'm going to detect magic again in case it's changed since it interacted with the wall. Jeez. I think I hadn't thought about it. Doing it again. So I'm going to detect magic on the brooch to see if any of the magic aura or anything has changed since it has come into contact with the weird summoning circle dealy bobber, or if there's anything different about it.
Just so I'm caught up, what was your specific question?
The question was, have you cast detect magic on the brooch?
I want to hear her ask it so I know her wording.
It was, did you ever detect magic on the brooch? Because I've been making a composite of different things.
I just missed that whole thing.
Yeah, because I asked it kind of privately in our Discord.
Yeah, she added me in the player discussion.
Oh, yeah, my Discord's in streamer mode, so that's why I don't get alerts. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so you're just asking that, and you're going to detect magic, just looking to see if there's a different aura or something like that?
Yeah, I want to see if anything's different about it since it has come into contact with that weird, circle.
Yeah. Okay. Good habits. Boop detect magic.
I'll boop it. Yep.
And excuse me. As you're studying it, you do notice it now has a very faint, wispy kind of aura of magic coming off of it. Strangely enough, you get that same sense of unable to parse. Like, you can see there's a magic aura when you try to fixate on, like, okay, it has this color, this quality, like this school would, this sort of structure of the aura itself, like it shifts and changes. It's not like Universal, where it's kind of just freeform but steady. It's legitimately altering the moment you try to settle on what aura it is, and it's very, very faint. Excuse me. You actually think it is dissipating slowly over time.
Okay.
Like, you don't basically, because you're trained enough. You don't get the sense that the rote has magical properties specifically, but that it did come in contact with something powerfully magical, and you're still seeing remnants of the aura on it, which means that it's very powerful magic.
Do you share that at all?
I mean, yeah, but I don't think you're in the room. This is when Lamia. This is when you're looking for eyes. Lamia, you're looking for eyes, and this is probably when me and Rahala are trying to figure out what's up with the scrolls. So I'll share it when we meet up next.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, I'm compositing a list. So
yeah, unless you say otherwise, we'll assume that once you guys meet up, you're going to share everything. So feel free to note whatever.
Don't plan on withholding any evidence from you guys. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, and then you say you're doing the scrolls. Okay, for
Whichever
there-
one of us will have the better, I'll assist or I'll have her assist. Whichever one of us has better. She probably has better, but
gotcha.
just figured 2 hands if this would be better than 1.
She has magic lore, +1 to identify magic items or decipher scrolls, so that's a +11 for her.
Okay, so I'm only +10, so yeah.
So she's just barely ahead of you. Okay.
But that does mean I can't fail to aid, right?
That does mean
So I
you
have
cannot
plus
fail
10.
to aid. You still want to roll because if you get really, really high, I'll add more.
Cool. It is spellcraft, right?
Yes, it is spellcraft.
Okay, yeah. Just making sure. Because either that or use magic device, I have +10 on, so.
Oh, geez, yeah, nice. Fuck it, yeah, I'll give that a +3. Okay. So she is rolling at +14
soda.
total.
Snake. But
14.
I'll have that too.
Yep, +14 for her spellcraft check. And just for the sake of brevity, I'm just going to apply this to both. 21. Nice. That was kind of a crappy roll, but
Yeah, it was.
she's got a good bonus. And I forgot, which scroll did you identify before?
I don't think I identified either of the magic scrolls. I only checked out because I'll tell you what.
Oh, yeah, you failed both of those. That's right. Okay, cool. So it's
Yeah.
just both of these. From this tab of my notes, one note is freezing.
There was
Great
2 magical
timing.
scrolls, 1 scroll that's blank, 1 scroll with the message, 1 scroll with the decoded things, the scroll I can't read at all, and then I don't remember what the other scroll was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the 6th scroll was the charcoal rubbing one. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god, why won't it up? Maybe I have it. Let me share Roll20. Maybe it's just in here. I'm not going to spend super long on this. I will straight up generate 2 new scrolls. I don't want to sit here while one note restarts. Okay. Check. Sorry, everyone. It shouldn't take too long. I'm going to start generating that now, just in case this doesn't work. Gotta be in here, right? Yes. Okay, here we go. One of them is a scroll of arcane lock, and that's at master level. I think it's just base. Yeah, 3. And the second one, nope. Which one is it? Should be. Okay, yeah, here we go. Second scroll is. Nope, that's the wrong one. I remember what spell it is. I just want to verify. I'm pretty sure I remember what spell it is. I just want to verify. Okay, verified. The second one is a scroll of secret coffer.
Oh,
And that is also a cash level 3, though I don't think it matters for that spell. It's just 2 scrolls, and then is that all you were identifying magic item wise?
I mean, I will use detect magic on all the scrolls, but I already did that. That's how I knew what they all were.
Yeah.
So I don't think I have any of that. The rest is I will just have Rohala help me try and figure out if we can learn anything else about these scrolls. Because there's one that's just blank. Like, I want to figure out is it actually blank, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'll have her see if she can figure out anything about the coded message as well. Although I feel like that's unlikely unless we can decipher what the you know the cipher itself is. And then the other thing is the charcoal rubbing. I want her to like look at that with me too and see what's up with that. And then bring up the blank book that we found and see if there's anything to figure out about the blank book from the red book that she was looking for in the study at first that only has the author's name.
That only has Ledmiri. Okay, so blank scroll. This one. Honestly, probably. I think this is just a straight perception. She's got +5. The better than yours.
Probably. Yeah, mine's +3.
Oh wow, good roll though. So she checks it and she says, "Oh, that's strange. There's like." She's like holding it up to like some light, and oh, that's really difficult to. There's discoloration. There's not. We checked for invisible ink. It's not that. It's just like part of the paper is slightly lighter, and I think it makes letters. That's. I could probably outline that. It would take a significant amount of time because that's going to be very delicate work. Maybe we set that aside for now.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that first word is light, but it's not in Ulith. She like shows it to you. That's definitely Raleigh.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And she's like showing it to you. What are you training linguistics?
I speak Raleighan.
You do speak Raleigh. So yeah. When you're looking at it, it is in Raleigh, but the word is it is like the Raleigh language, but you do still notice the kind of interesting. Or you say you're not trained in linguistics?
No,
just
but I speak Raleigh
language. That's still fine because you speak both of these, so you would know this anyway. But you notice the actual script is Tertian script, but they're using it to make Raleian words.
Interesting. Yep.
So it is because you speak both of them. You're like, okay, I can make heads or tails of this, but if you only had one of the two, be like, these characters make no sense, or you'd be like, what the fuck is the shape of these letters?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting piece of text, but once she kind of shows it to you, you're like, you can see the Raleigh word for light spelled out in Tertian characters. So yeah, set that aside. That is a whole project. That's the blank one. And deciphering, like actually decrypting that stuff, that is going to be really tough. Even, yeah, that I believe is beyond her skill.
Makes sense. I didn't think without like an easy, cipher to work from. It's
or
nigh
some kind
impossible.
of reference or specialized tools or
it's nigh impossible
or something. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. So that's a I don't fucking know pile. The charcoal. I don't know if she has the skill for this. Yeah, she pretty much tells you she thinks we're gonna need like an alchemist or something to try to bond this shit from it and see if we can pull like if there's anything underneath it, pull that out. But that's not. She doesn't have the tools for it or the skill. But that's her conclusion. So we don't need to roll for that one. And see, what was the other ones? We got blank. We got charcoal. We got the 2 scrolls.
I think that was it.
Scrolls.
Because
we got the blankety blank.
Yeah, there's one that the guy just wrote a message on. The other thing I wanted to check out was the book.
And then the other thing was the book. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So she takes it, kind of flips through it, sees what you see, and she's like, "I goodness, I don't even. Who does this? It's like I don't know how many writers you know, but this is like someone got very overly ambitious and had this entire thing bound, thinking that they were going to ink each page, let it dry, and complete a novel in an exact number of pages, and got precisely one step in and decided that they were an idiot and had no idea what they were doing. That's what this looks like to me. And I could see some of them do it. I could easily see some of them do it. They'd be like, no, if I've got it bound, if I've got this whole thing and I've invested all this, of course I'll write. And then they sit in their room and they drink for a week and they won't come out until you come and harass them to do so. And they're like in the sunlight like they've never seen it before. Writers.
Patrick,
Anyway.
that's too real. Can you shut up now, please?
Oh, by the way, I just want you to say in my notes says Rahalis lets us know a little bit about Patrick's psyche about being a writer. That's what it says in my notes. I just typed that. So yeah, there you go.
So, but yeah. All right, she roasts me specifically, except for the drinking. But
Yeah.
He's like, well, what I could do is I could see if I can find something about this name. I mean, it's an interesting name. Doesn't seem super familiar to me. Maybe like an old Ulis name or something. But I could look into it.
I mean, I think it's worth it then. At least do a little bit of research. I'll see if Regeki knows anything either, since it was in their library here. Next time I speak to her, I'll ask Clint about it as well when we get to talk to him. We get to chat to him about it.
Yeah, cool one. Okay. Are you going to help, or did you have some other things to do?
I do have some other investigating to do on this one. I'm gonna
Solo
leave this to you at the
research.
moment. So yeah. But have we checked this book for any like invisible inks or anything weird in it? Because we'll help you with that if not.
Have. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll presume you have. It doesn't have any. They, as far as you can tell, are literally blank pages. So.
I don't think I detect magic on the book before, so I am going to do that real quick, just in case.
You detect magic in the book, and no magic.
Yep.
At all.
Just in case.
Squeaky fucking clean.
It's a little odd, but okay.
Yeah. It's like, there's a lot of surprisingly non-magical things.
Don't let him lie to you guys. Reading is magic. But I guess there's no text in this, so that's why it's not.
Name. Yeah, so she'll go do some solo research. Fuck. What was it? Oh god, brain. First, I'm gonna actually switch back to music playing. God, I had a train of thought, and it is like, was it something Rahala was going to do?
Probably
Should
roll.
I ask? Well, I mean, yeah, she's gonna be. That's gonna take a while. She's gonna do a lot of research. Solar research.
Oh, I remember the thing I was going to do specifically investigate is I was going to look about, try and see if the Rahala doppelganger had showed up or anything else with that.
Yeah, that's right. You're gonna ask her.
That was
about
the specific thing I was going to try and find out about.
Yeah, I can't remember if there's something else she was gonna do.
So,
Yeah.
if I can get from you right now a exact, like the closest you can match timetable of when you entered the library, when you went to the bookshelf and had to be tiny, and then anybody you saw on the way in or out, I'm going to double check everything, since that one gentleman in the library definitely noticed you by your description, and then you never had spoken to him.
I noticed him. I didn't talk to him or see him. It would have been, I guess, maybe 10 or 11 at night. It was after you all, went off to investigate.
Right.
And that's where I was. I have very little concept of time outside of that. I think I was maybe in there before I fell into the damn shelf. It could have been, it was 1 or 2 hours. I wish I could give you a better idea, but if you've ever pulled an all-nighter like that, it's just, you're sort of committed to it. Like, the time doesn't matter until the sun starts coming up, you know?
Right.
So,
Right. Okay. So, and then you didn't interact with anybody in the library. You didn't
No,
speak with
no,
anybody. You didn't see anybody.
I talked to one of the help on the way up. A very nice lady. I didn't ask her name. We were just sort of empathing, but she describes Volga to you.
Yeah.
She just. I spoke with her briefly, just asking what general permissions about the area and stuff. I was sort of trying to weasel my way into getting into Clint's study and pretending I had permission, but she couldn't give me that, so I was studying and then resolved that I might just have to sneak in for a while. Just for a pop, just to look around a little, nothing nefarious, and I didn't make it that far, so... You don't... No, that's ridiculous. I was just thinking maybe, what if Clint knew somehow and he, popped me into a bookshelf to keep me from going in? But I think that's a bit paranoid.
It might be, but well, let me put it this way. It's maybe a bit reaching, but Clint is the one who knew. But based off of your description of the thing in the bookshelf and apparently my own description of it, it had some level of intelligence and could have foreseen that and wanted to keep you from the study.
That's true. Well, with that haunting detail fresh in my mind, I guess I'm going to go be around books again.
I know I'm not. I know I'm not there, but would you have had the idea to ask to clarify on what she means by when we went to go investigate, like
she
the
said 10 or
murder room,
11.
or
She said 10 or 11.
Yeah,
I know, but the murder room or
The time 10 or
after
11
the eyes
would be when we went to investigate the hole in the ground. I think. Because that's after we had that whole conversation and we were doing that junk.
Correct.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, no, that's a good clarification because
Yeah.
it gets everything cohesive for any memory gaps. But yes, correct. And then he's Betty, and you're gonna go ask around about doppelganger thing. Or you mostly just trying to find out if anyone else saw her in that time when she shouldn't have appeared?
Yep, that's pretty much it. Or if anybody had spoken to her in a time where, at any point where we knew where Rahala was. Let's say, any of the nights where both Rahala and I were in the same fucking room, if somebody else spoke to her during those times, you're like, no, she was 10 feet from me. No way you talked to her. I could have thrown a pillow at her head.
Okay, yeah. That's I think it's just a straight diplomacy check, and you'll get your affable bonuses and everything. So you're just gathering info. Most of these people at this point are at least lowest disposition they're going to have is indifferent. Otherwise, it's probably higher at this point.
Affable is +2, right? Just let me double check.
I believe so.
Add that on there. Yep, +2.
It's very specific.
All right. Oh, could have just add it.
Nice.
It was a really good roll. Yeah, it didn't add it, but that's okay. Should have.
Oh, it didn't.
Push
I
2.
didn't see it.
Oh, no, it did. It added it.
Oh,
because it was +11. I
what's
only
your
have a +9.
normal's
It
plus
added
9.
it
Okay.
in a weird way. It didn't add it on the thing. It added it on my sheet.
You didn't put your +9 into temp or miscellaneous bonus on your skill, did you?
No.
Huh.
I have a +9 normally. It's +11 with affable, so it shows
weird.
+11 on the roll. So it is correct.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so it's 29, which is still crazy high. You don't at first it just seemed like no one. There's no discrepancies really. There's a few people who know who you're talking about. A few of them you're like, and they go, oh, her. And then there's
Gave quite an accurate description of you. Anyway,
so there's a few people who that haven't really seen her at all because they've been busy or whatever. But you're getting varying degrees of nothing for a while. Right around when you're kind of ready to give up on this, give me the D4 to see how many hours this takes you.
all right.
I know it's a max of 2, but still.
Yeah,
It's
and
2
it's 2.
hours. So, so right about when you're like, you've been at it for almost a couple hours, just like going and asking people and going and doubling back and asking other questions you've thought of to the same people, or returning to people who were busy when you first saw them and now they're not, so you can actually ask them. Just kind of doing this whole thing. You're used to it, but it is exhausting. You're kind of about ready to wrap it up, and you talk to one of the housekeepers who tends to go through, who's kind of on like the night rotation, and you start asking about it, and he goes pretty visibly kind of pale. Just, oh dearie, I had a right to do with your friend. How she scared the dickens out of me. I haven't seen her again. I've got some stuff to say. I don't know how she did what she did, but I about jumped out of me blouse, and that's not trying to be indecent. I literally leaped. I leapt. I'm not a young spring chicken anymore. I don't jump. The older you get, you don't move jerky like that. But I had just come out of the lower study. Just come out there, had everything all tidied and dusted and everything, and I was carrying one of the hand mirrors from a different room, and I had gotten snagged on something, and I was checking my blouse, and I saw her in the reflection right over me shoulder, just standing there with that gorgeous dark hair of hers over her face. And I thought it was some sort of apparition come to just snatch me soul away. I leapt up pretty high. I did. Never been frightened like that in my life. And I've been through some things, let me tell you. And I whirled around, and she's just laughing and cackling. And I couldn't get my words together. And she was apologizing and sort of wandered off, But she wandered back into the room and such. And then I went back in there not too long after, but I guess she'd already left. That was quite late. Right around probably around midnight or so.
Well, that definitely
that
seems
craziness
in
was
character
going
for
on.
Valhalla, but I'll have a chat with her.
So all that craziness was going on, and so it was a right terrible time to do something like that. But well, she's a cheeky one. But yeah, your conversation winds down. But her story apparently happened the night that Rahala was supposed to have either been in the study already or having been freshly disappeared at around midnight. She went in at 10 or 11 and it didn't come out. She couldn't have been behind this lady.
Right. Well,
and wasn't in the lower study. You know that he was in the upper study. So yeah, you have a strange occurrence documented, especially because this woman apparently had gone in and cleaned the entire room and then turned around and Rahala's behind her. So
yeah, that is strange.
Lamia,
I am here.
you find no additional eyes.
No additional eyes. So not even, like, I forget, was there one in the murder room at all?
I don't believe. Hold on.
The ones I remember are the ones in our room, the second floor study,
Let me try
the
and fucking this up.
in the room that's close to like it's being on the outside.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, okay. For some reason I thought you found that one already. You find one additional eye.
I thought
Okay.
she found that one too, but
Yeah,
I
thought
just
you
don't
found one in
remember
the
it.
murder room. But yeah, you find it in there. I will assume at this point that you report it once you can.
Yeah.
Once you see Rugeki again. Do you do anything with it in the meantime, since she's not there?
Where is it in the murder room?
This one is so it is pretty much right, like when you open the door. God, what do you even call that? The door covers it. So like when you open it, it's like kind of right next to the hinge, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like open it, or you'd like never see it. You'd have to be on the other side of it, specifically kind of looking for it on the molding, where like the hinge, like the on the opposite side of the hinge.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the molding of it. It's like the
But-
raised portion on like the little bit there. It's very small.
Yeah, no, I don't do anything with it because I mean I'm not magically inclined and I don't know what to do with it.
Okay.
And it's in a very weird place, so
Yes. Like if you were trying to imagine like looking out of it, you would kind of see like one corner of the room and maybe the window.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
the
a-
window.
very weird place for it to be.
Like watch the window. But anyway, so you find one.
Okay.
Let's see. We are at
And
midnight.
I'm not able to go into like Clint's room or, as an example, the private rooms, right?
No.
Okay. Would I have had the chance to find God, why is her name escaping me? It's because I typed Rahala so many darn times. I'm like, do.
Rugeki?
Yes, Regeki, to clarify if eyes had been found in there in those rooms.
I mean, yeah. If you asked her, she'd have told you she checks them thoroughly.
Okay.
Thoroughly.
And there were none as far as she could find.
Nope.
Okay. Then I have that in my evidence list. All right. And that's, if that took me all day, then that took me all day.
I mean, yeah, you searching literally every place you could. Very like basically taking 20 on every room in the house. Every room.
That's
you
a
have
long
access
time.
to.
Yeah. Okay. I have that listed.
Yep. Well, as much as I want to get to the next day, when when Eli's memory comes back, we are past midnight.
Yep.
So that's gonna have to do it for now. When we return, we'll probably be going into the night, late evening night of that day. If you guys, so we can assume you guys have shared your info.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably give you guys a chance to kind of talk through any of it, and then we'll move on.
sweet.
So, for now, thanks again, everybody in chat. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Yep, it certainly is. Both Giselle and I hold natural ones today, so if you bet
Yep.
on either of us, you win.
Nobody won.
You guys
But
tied.
yeah, it's a tie. Please do check out the Facebook. I know we plugged it earlier about the character origin stories and stuff, but it is cool and more stuff.
You mean
on there.
YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube.
You
Is
said
that what it is?
Facebook.
Whatever. Also
Yeah,
go to
that's
Facebook. It also has links to the YouTube on it. So hey, there you go.
Do both.
There's also Twitter. There's also Instagram. There's a link in the chat for our Discord, so you can always go in the Discord and share your stars and wishes about tonight. So what you loved, like a moment you loved, and things you'd like to see from us. Then we have Patreon. Go to Patreon. Give us money.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
First,
We do
stop.
Patreon hangouts with
things.
people at a certain level, and then we're gonna have a podcast coming out for people at a certain Patreon level, and then also we have a patrons only Discord area.
Yeah, and eventually we will do a patron game, but that's eventually. gotta clear some space first.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you everyone. We're gonna probably raid Interpoint Station because they're live, even though they might, I don't know how much longer they're live, but they stream for a while. So, and they got some dope ass stuff going on over there. Probably Lancer.
Lancer.
I assume that's usually their Tuesdays because every time I've seen them on Tuesdays, they've been doing Lancer. So,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Which is a
raid
dope
Interpoint
system, and you
Station.
should check it out. It looks really cool.
I'm
And the
super-
rule book's only like $20. Get it.
I'm like super into it. Like,
It's awesome.
yeah, it's neat. If you like mech and sci-fi stuff, you will enjoy. But yeah, for now, we'll stop droning on and we'll get that did. Look forward to the YouTube video if you missed anything and want to get a chance to look over it. And we will see you next Tuesday for more.
Or Into the Storm.
Into
Replays
the
come out on
Storm.
Mondays, by the way. Just so
They
you
come
know.
out on
when the
Mondays.
replays are
It's
up.
usually at noon, unless upload decides to fuck me over. But
Have a
let's
good
get
night,
the raid
everybody.
going. Night, folks. Once again, I got no other lyrics to this song I'm making up. No other lyrics. Bye.
My wife left me. I don't know.
That's a hell of it.
Seemed like that kind of
An
song.
outro.
Right? Yeah, old blues.